There we go. So yeah, I just put I put like 10 slices of lunch meat on a hamburger bun and like these pickled red onions and then a slice of provolone and then doused it in red wine vinegar and I just wolfed that down. It was a pretty bad sandwich. It wasn't that good.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
feel that. Yeah, I pretty much I had some Chick-fil-A today. That was pretty good. I had a Celsius, so I've taken like 4 liquid shits today.
nice, dude.
So pretty good day overall.
Yeah, Celsius is tight. I've been on the Celsius tip for a couple weeks now because I had like given up caffeine for a while and then started dipping my toe back into it, and I was drinking a lot of coffee. Oh man, belching up that sandwich. I was drinking a lot of coffee for a little while, and then I just got sick of coffee, so I was like, let me get back. Let me explore the world of energy drinks once more. And so I tried a Celsius, and I was like, I can't believe they've evolved as much as they have since I was drinking them. Because the last time I'd had an energy drink prior to that first Celsius, which was a few weeks ago, it was just the standard Red Bull or a Monster, which tastes like they have like a kind of art fuel taste, like they taste like chemicals. You know, you know what
Yeah,
I'm talking about?
yeah, it's kind of like what they did with alcohol with the seltzers, cuz before when you drink like whatever shitty mixed drink or beer or whatever you get from the gas station, it was like, "Oh, I can definitely taste that there's alcohol in here." And that's kind of how energy drinks were, is like you drink them and you kind of feel the power of them, whereas now it's like they've almost figured out how to make it taste delicious, which is kind of a bad thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yes, that's a good description because, like, my memory of Monster and Red Bull, like that energy drink flavor, which you can also get as a vape. They also have energy drink flavored vapes, but that flavor definitely it tastes like whatever taurine and guarana or whatever bullshit is what they say is in it. It like it has a flavor that would say, oh, I guess that's like all the rhino horns they ground up into this or whatever it is that's going to give me the energy. It's a maybe it's a psychological thing. Like they design that flavor to be that way, so you're like, this is it's I'm energized now because this tastes honestly kind of shitty. And but now Celsius, it just tastes like Kool-Aid. It just tastes like fruit punch. It's
It's
delicious.
delicious.
Yeah, that's why I can
Which
drink 3 of them, and then I'm just sitting there, just like counting my heartbeats. Like, okay, am I dying? Is this what's going to end it? Is the 3 Celsiuses?
Yeah, I found it's very tough because when I was drinking, I felt like even for like a slimmer bodied guy, like I could drink a lot. And it was probably from just binging over and over again, but I had a pretty high tolerance to a point where at my drinkingest, I would have to drink at least like 6 or 7 beers just to feel a buzz. But for some reason, caffeine for me has always been, if I drink too much, I'm freaking the fuck out.
Yeah, I'm a bigger guy than you, and so one Celsius doesn't really do it for me. 2 Celsiuses, I'm opening my legs. 3 Celsius, I'm giving some head. No, no, I think like 2 Celsiuses is the sweet spot for me, and then if I go to 3, that's where I really start like feeling it, and I start having to. I don't know if you've ever done this. Have you ever like fucked up with like whatever substance it is and started and like felt like you were dying, and so you start having to like remind yourself of, well, there's like people doing cocaine all the time. They're alive. Like you start you start having to like tell yourself like stories to remind yourself that maybe I'm not dying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Where it's
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
yeah, like those nights where you maybe like got too drunk and took an Adderall, and so then you start having to like compare yourself to just the wild shit other people do who are still alive. And you're like, all right, I think I'll be all right because I know a guy who used to huff Freon and do heroin, and he's alive, so I think I'm okay.
Yeah, I do that with a lot of things in my life as far as justifying my choices. Like I'm very mean to a lot of people online, and every time I'm mean, like I won't even say I feel bad about it, but sometimes I'm like, damn, am I going too hard? And then I remember that Red Bar made fun of Sam Tripoli's children, and I'm like, oh well, I'm not the devil.
Yeah, we all. I think that's just a human thing, just to keep comparing yourself to everyone else and be like, all right, well, I'm not that guy. And so, and then just forget just how shitty you actually are because you're just not as shitty as you is as another guy. Because
Yeah,
I've done that.
and like us, like I'm sure, um, which for me it was more. I had a long period of time, like years and years, where I was just a degenerate drunk and drug addict. And now I even look at myself that way, or I'm like, well, at least I'm not doing as bad as I used to do, which
Yep.
is a really bad way to look at
Then
life.
I think they say that's what you're supposed to do. Like the only person that you should compare yourself to is yourself. If you're a better man today than you were yesterday, then that's progress. So that might be a healthy coping mechanism. Actually, is looking back on the past and going, "Hey, I'm not that guy no more," rather than looking at other people and going, "Oh, what a fucking dipshit! I'm not that guy." Because
Yeah, for sure.
we do that a lot. We do it with our boy Jake. I think Jake is like the benchmark for everyone to be like, "There, but for the grace of God, go I." Jake Flores.
Yeah.
Um, I talked to somebody who's like tight with him the other night. I was like, I'm friends with like a bunch of like trans sex workers on Twitter, and so I was like just playing around with the Twitter Spaces, and one of my friends hopped in, this trans porn lady, and then it's weird because like if a trans person is involved in something, it becomes like a lighthouse for other trans people. Because then just like all these like chicks with dicks just started popping up into the chat, into the stream, and one of them was telling me that she's like tight with him, that they're like good friends, and was not aware of the other side. Like she was telling me like what he has said about all these other comedians, and I was like, hold on, you've only heard that side of the story. I'll fill you in on. I'll give you the Rashomon on this, and you piece it together however you want, because there's a whole other side to this shit that you may not be aware of. But all that's to say, what was revealed to me is that this trans lady does fuck Jake's girlfriend all the time.
That's cool. That's
Yeah,
probably the coolest. His sexual proclivity is probably the coolest thing about him, to be honest. And if he
yeah,
was like, if he ruled as a dude, it almost be like a positive. Like you're like, yeah, that guy fucking parties. He fucking chokes on strap-ons and shit. He fucking rules. But just because he stinks, it's
yeah,
just something that makes him stink even more.
yeah. His like sexual freedom is like. There's a part of me that's like, oh, that'd be. I guess it'd be cool to be that liberated. But then, like a lot of people that live that way, they're also just like annoying. They're very contemptible people. It usually goes hand in hand that someone who is making that much of an effort to be a sex freak is also just an unadulterated faggot, and is I've met some cool ones. I got friends who are sex workers who are very they nasty, but they're cool as shit. But then there's like guys like him, um, who just gross and obnoxious, and communist, dirty, filthy commies.
I think it's pretty funny that you can't really judge a person by what they kind of portray themselves as, or the information that they give to you, their cover, so to speak, because it's like you had Jamie Castles on for a long ass episode where the vibes were good. You guys were making jokes kind of about whatever you wanted. And she was almost kind of up in the ante a little bit, was like just down, sense of humor, like didn't care what you were saying about chicks with dicks and stuff. And then you had that other chick who's basically the opposite of her,
Yo,
that
I
Seymour
I feel
girl.
bad about that. I didn't know what her deal was, and I felt bad because like Jamie is like cool as shit, trans, and just like a very positive person. And then that other lady, I was like, well, this is an interesting conversation to say the least. But goddamn, dude, this is crazy. The shit she's saying, it's like so demeaning and just unhinged. The stuff that she's saying about like trans people and just everyone.
Yeah, she within the same like 20 minutes, I'm pretty sure she called someone who she didn't know, which was Jamie Castle's retarded for thinking that she was intersex, but then also followed up minutes later with guys who pay for sex are rapists.
Yeah, it was a very strange conversation. And by the way, welcome to the show, everybody. We're 10 minutes in. Welcome. This is I guess the what are we calling this? The second episode maybe of the Crowder Boys.
Now I have no issues with the squad, well, whether it's me and you or me and you and Robbie, but about the Crowder Boys, where did that come from?
I don't know. Somebody said that on Twitter. I don't even know where that came from, but somebody just called us the Crowder Boys, and it made me laugh. So I was like, all right, I'll do that.
Yeah,
but
I don't understand it. Like, I don't even know how he'd explain it if somebody asked.
It doesn't make any sense. It's like,
and Crowder, like, if we're doing it ironically, I understand that, but like Crowder is one of the gayest gays of all time.
Crowder sucks. Yeah, Crowder sucks. It just made me laugh because it's like, I don't know, just the idea of anyone finding this and be like, so what is it? Is it like a Crowder reaction show? Are you guys fans of the guy? And it's like, no, we actually hate the motherfucker. It's just a nonsense name.
Yeah, I'd say Crowder Boys or Player Haters. And then just like every stream we do, like the first one was the Player Haters Revolution. The next one could be the Player Haters Extravaganza.
Yeah.
Just different things. But Crowder Boys is cool. Like, I don't want people to get the wrong idea, you know?
Well, that when me, Robbie, and Joe were doing the Loud Boys, I had a number of people reach out sincerely saying this to me, like, hey, I don't know if you know this. Do you know that like the name of your show kind of reminds people of the Proud Boys? I'm like, no, I didn't know that. I was not aware that was happening. Egads. Yeah, that was so funny to me. The number of people that were messaging me like, hey, you know, it's kind of like rhymes with the Proud Boys. It sounds like it. It's like, okay. You call yourself a comedian and you're not picking up on what we're doing.
Yeah, there'll be like people talking to me and being like, hey, you know, the name Crack Amico, there's actually already a guy with a very similar sounding name. You might want to change that so they don't think you guys are like associated, you know?
Right. Yeah. I mean, you know, people on the internet, I think the internet just naturally dumbs you down. Like the filtering everything through the internet, something gets lost in translation. So I think everybody's operating at about like 60% of what they normally would already. And so you just have to go from there. It's on a scale.
I feel really bad for Zach Amico sometimes because people on the internet are so fucking stupid that at least once a week, and you know, I tweet all kinds of inflammatory shit that like, if Zach tweeted, that would be bad for him. So I'll tweet some shit about like some kind of comic or something, talking shit about Tony or something. And a guy in the fucking replies will be like, oh yeah, well, you're fucking 400 pounds, you fucking rainbow freak, stupid motherfucker.
I've seen that happen. Yeah, I've seen that where people confuse you for Zach. And it's like, I mean, they're separated by probably, a half ton. There's probably a half ton between them that differentiates these two people.
Mean, before you thought it was, I guess maybe the follow count, but like before you thought it was Zach, wouldn't you think it's just a fan that's like trolling with the same name? Like, why would Zach go by Crack for no reason? Like, I don't know. I don't get some of these
people just don't. I think a lot of people just are not paying attention. They're just like quick on the draw, shooting from the hip, and not really paying attention to what they're doing. You know, that's that comes with age. You know, when you're in school, when you're young, your mind is nimble and malleable, and you're curious. And then as you get older, it just starts to harden, and then you just stop being aware of anything. You know, it's
Yeah, I
just
think that's why it's kind of our responsibility to kind of bully some of these people off of the internet and off of Twitter, because it's clear that there's a certain class of people like me and you and some others, even like some comedians, that kind of know what we're doing online, and there's other people that are just boomers that fucking don't. So the quicker we can get them the fuck out of the way, the quicker the revolution will rise.
there
And
are people. There's a lot of people who just should not be on the internet. Like the internet became too open, and more people like flooded into it. And it's just like, man, y'all just should not. This should just be something that you use every once in a while for like streaming and maybe some light browsing, emails. But no, this is our corner. Like, you're in our territory, and your ass is gonna get got if you spend too much time here. It's a bad neighborhood.
yeah, and it's our neighborhood.
It's our
We're
neighborhood.
claiming this shit. We're the young generation. We're the millennial slash Zoomers that are taking our place.
Yeah, because I mean, we grew up with like the hostile internet. Like, when the internet was like truly designed for people to try and get, like, convince one another to kill themselves. That was like the foundation of the internet, was just like different forums and message boards and chat rooms where it was just a bunch of different people saying the meanest things possible to one another, trying to get another person to take their own life. And so it's, that's what we're working with as we go forward. And it's kind of, it's kind of gotten a little bit softer, but not much. I mean, that's still in the DNA of the internet. The internet's a good place to just really, be mean and troll and be a bully. It's fun. I love
Yeah,
trolling.
I'm trying to see if we can get Chrissy Mayer the fuck out of here. Every time she tweets, I if people knew how much shit stays in the drafts, like it's
Have you
it's
tried?
fucking
Have you tried
crazy.
like leading her away with like a sugar cube or some
No,
oats?
that's a good idea. I recently just, and this is the perfect type of thing to quote tweet, because you have no explanation, but like she sends out these tweets that are either just the obvious racist thing to say, which is kind of the MO of compound media, and like especially like Gino. Anthony at one time was brilliant, but he's kind of just lowered himself down to the Gino Chrissy level of just state the thing. And it's like we were talking about with the Theo doing the wow with extra W's. Like
Yeah.
they do that, but with racism. They'll just be
Mhm.
like, "Yep, another black guy," and it'll just get thousands of fucking likes. And I'm tired of it. It's like today she fucking quote tweeted, which everybody's already got their jokes off about the Amy Schumer fat face bullshit. And she tweets today, she's like, whatever she claims to have is like endometriosis. And Chrissy Mayer was like, everyone be sensitive about her eating metriosis. And I'm like, what goes through your mind when you think that's like a clever thing to fucking say, especially when you're attacking someone else? Like, if you're coming at someone else, you better fucking make it good. Like, it reminds me of the Shab shit with everybody just shitting on Shab, and it's like, go for it if you're going to, but like, make it funny. Don't just shit on someone because you think you're gonna get attention because you said their name.
Yeah. Most people are not that creative. Most people are just not very clever, and they're just kind of edgy and incendiary, like reactionary. So they know, like, rather than like actually trying to craft anything clever or interesting to say that has any semblance of creativity, they'll just go straight for the most obvious, cliche, low hanging fruit, and that's their brand. That is like Chrissy Mayer's. That is her brand, is just to be an edge lady. I'll be she's like, I'm racist, I'm based, I'm red pilled, whatever.
Well, I have a lot more respect for like an Ann Coulter who like across the board is like staunch kind of on, and you kind of know where she stands on everything. But Chrissy Mayer, one second will be hating on like the trans community or black people, and the next she has 5 fucking porn stars talking about squirting on her fucking show. Like, pick a fucking side, lady. Like, you're
Yeah,
confusing these women.
yeah. It's I guess everybody is like A lot of these people are just trying to be shock jocks. Like they're just all trying to be Stern and O&A, including Anthony himself. Is just still like he's like copying what he used to do. He's still trying to like hold on to that, but now he's just there's no one to keep him in check in terms of his like unhinged racism and mild pedophilia. So he's just very he'll come up, he'll say something like every now and then like will get me. It's like, oh, that's funny, but more often than not, I'm just like this guy seems to have like a real gripe with black people that I don't really understand. When the black people kind of like made his career. I don't think. I mean, who knows? But I feel like Patrice really was a boon to that show.
Yeah, and people can't act like when Ant and Patrice were on the show together, they can't act like there wasn't a mutual respect for one another. It wasn't like Anthony was just being his same racist self that he is when Patrice isn't there. It's like, no, he would respect the guy and have a real conversation with him. He wasn't just being blatantly racist to him. It would have never worked. Patrice would have been like, fuck this guy, I'm never coming back.
Yeah, of course. What's going on? Oh, what's going on in the chat? Oh, shout out to Squatopotamus. He's been a premium member of the channel for a month. Folks, give me money. Hit us with some money in the chat. Yeah, he's been subscribed to the premium, whatever the YouTube premium thing is. I don't really know how that works. But as he said earlier, the least gay thing about Jake Flores is his sex life. That's true.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, even even eating the cum thing is like, it's fun to clown on him with that, but whom amongst us hasn't at least been curious about the flavor profile of our load?
Yeah, I think I don't know. I feel like Flores is like, it's been said before by everybody, but it's just the thing. Like you use shit against anybody, any kind of ammo that you could possibly have. But like Jim Norton, everybody loves because it's like, oh, he's that freaky guy that tells you all of his sexual shit going on, and he kind of lives that life. Whereas Jake is kind of like in the closet with it.
Yeah, it feels very performative with Jake, and also he just he's just shitty to everybody. Like he just comes across very bitter and mean and off-putting. Like his sexual proclivities, from what I've seen, in terms of like what's out there, the vast expanse of weird shit that people get into, his shit seems like pretty pedestrian compared to some of the more extreme stuff I've seen. It's definitely freaky, compared to like what I would do sexually, which is missionary with a chubby woman. That's about as far as I go. That's
at least in real life.
In real life, yeah, exactly. In real life, like what I'm actually into, missionary sex with a chubby lady, for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting, like when you haven't really tested those things that you feel you're attracted to through pornography, because like there's shit that I watch in porn that I know in real life would just probably disgust me. Like,
yeah.
And to be honest, like as far as it goes with trans women, like I've delved into the T-girl files a time or two. Some would say weekly, but I've never had that encounter in real life, and it's like if I did, I don't even know if I would like it.
I don't know what I've thought about this. I have,
but something about being behind that screen is like I feel like I'm just more of a voyeur than I am gay.
Yeah, yes, I agree. I agree. And hey, some would say being attracted to a trans woman doesn't even make you gay. Who knows? But the voyeur thing is real. What you're watching exists on a screen as like this spectacle. It's it's like watching a Fast and Furious movie. It's like, well, of course, Ludacris can't drive a car in space. Ludacris can't drive a Pontiac in space. It's not real, but it's fun to watch. And it's it's sort of the same with watching two trans women bareback. It's like, well, I don't know if this is something I would ever want to do in real life or be like, be a part of, or even in the same room when it's happening. But I'll watch it on X Hamster, the same way I'll watch a John Wick movie. and understand the separation between myself and what I'm viewing. You know, I'm not proficient with weapons and kung fu, and I'm not good at sucking girl cock either. Nor is it something I think I want to get good at.
That's another question I always have is like, I feel like I'd be much sooner to engage in something with a trans woman, which I'm in a happy relationship. This is all hypothetical, but I'd be quicker to engage and probably have sex, but like I almost feel like the dick would just be scenery. I don't think in any world or life I'm a dick sucker of any kind.
You don't think you would suck a trans woman's penis?
I think you're supposed to, probably if you're in
Polite.
this situation, but I I I don't I don't know. We're getting into deep waters here, but
Yeah.
I don't know. As I'm saying it, I'm kind of trying
Deep
to
anal
figure out in my mind.
asses.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'll ever figure out where I actually stand on a lot of things that I like in the virtual world.
Oh, super
Even
chat
like
from.
piss.
Oh, we'll get to piss in a
Like
minute.
I love watching girls piss on each other and stuff, but like there's nothing really about piss in real life that's beyond. Like, but sorry, there's super chat.
But yeah, hold on, I gotta shout out the super chat. Squatopotamus, $5 super chat. Shout out Vince McMahon's number 2 fit. He likes doo doo, but we're talking piss. Vince McMahon likes doo doo. We're talking pee pee.
Yeah, number 2 is his number 1 fetish.
Yo, no, number 2 is crazy. That's like too far. I'm not even gonna watch that.
I'm gonna shit on you, you stupid bitch.
Yeah, I don't want to see anyone take a dump. I don't want anyone to take a dump on me. I don't want to take a dump on anybody. Pee pee, you know, who knows? I've watched pee pee. I've looked up pee pee for sure. But is it something I want to part? I think somebody in the chat did ask if you're into water sports, which I think any man who has been watching porn long enough eventually finds himself at least, you know, out of curiosity seeing what's up with PP.
Yeah, and I don't know that like watching it necessarily makes you into it because of course I watch it, and for me it's like not even like a porn studio filming two lesbians like pissing on each other. It's more like there's this one Snapchat series of videos online where it's like Kiss of Sins and Adriana
I've
Chechik
seen this.
where they're out just like pissing in public while
I've
like
seen this.
cars
I
pass
know.
by and shit.
I know exactly the video you're talking about.
And that to me is just great because it's like it's almost like it's that same voyeur thing where it's like these dirty bitches just don't care so much that they're just pissing out in public in front of people. And there's something just so like, I'm not supposed to see this.
Yeah.
That turns you on.
You're not supposed to see it. They ain't supposed to be doing it. It's gross. And I don't know what it is. I guess it's just that like abandoning like any sort of politeness or adhering to social mores of being like, I'm just a dirty bitch. I'm going to piss in the street. And I, when I watch stuff like that, I do like, I don't know if it's part of what makes it hot for me, if this is like something fucked up in my mind, but I do always like try to imagine like what led her to this moment, what's causing this, because this is like nobody's raised like this. This is not normal behavior. This is crazy. And then I guess if you listen to an interview with any of them, you realize like they were molested at some point.
Yeah.
They had something really bad happen when they were
something's got to go wrong.
Yeah.
That's where the OnlyFans is kind of almost offensive to me mentally because it kind of broke that thing that we used to believe for years and years through like the 90s and early aughts, which was you got to really fuck up as a dad to have a girl that's doing porn. Like it's not too much of a worry. Like you really had to be a piece of shit. Whereas now, like if you just give birth to a good looking woman, it's a high chance she's going to sell her nudes in some way. And there's just not shit you can do about it. I mean, you can try your best, but
yeah, you can try, but there's too much. Oh, hold on. Yeah, Squat asked if Adriana Chechik. Yeah, she did get paralyzed. She was like a lot of these dumb big titty bitches. she got into Twitch streaming, like professional gaming, which is, sure, you really like video games, I buy that. And and so she blew up on Twitch as like one of the big Twitch streamers, and so she got invited to some like convention as like a performer there, or like a noteworthy figure at this Twitch convention. And they had some like American Gladiator style thing, like where these two people were standing on column terrells in this.
I was about to say
that. In some like foam pit. So it's like these raised columns in this foam pit, and they're swinging like foam swords at each other. And she won whatever this competition was, and then like in celebration leaped off the column and like spread her legs and landed ass first on this foam pit. But there was only like one layer of foam on this concrete floor, so it just shattered her spine when she hit. It like completely fucked her up. And I follow her on Twitter, and it's been a long journey back to squirting. It's been a long, tough road back to get, being able to squirt. But I think a few months ago, she posted that she finally squirted for the first time in over a year. She was concerned that she may never squirt again, but I guess her physical therapist worked with her on that.
Yeah, I think it's actually funny. I don't know if you'd remember a player that used to play for the Bills. His name was Kevin Everett. I think that was his name. This was like probably over 10 years ago, but he got like paralyzed out on the field, and he slowly had to go through physical therapy. He ended up working. They said he was never going to walk again. He actually, I think, regained full mobility. I don't know if he ever played again, but it's just funny to me that a guy like that and her can kind of probably relate on a lot of things, as far as just completely losing your mobility, and now you got to get back to what you do best, which squirting is probably easier than going on the field with 200-pound men.
I think it's easier to squirt than run a 4.40. I think so. Probably. Especially if
it's just piss, right?
I think it is just piss. People are like really deluding themselves if they think it's not piss. And then if it's like, I've said this, like, if it's not piss, then I mean, what the fuck is it then? Because the argument that it's not piss seems to be coming from a place of like that somehow it's less gross, that it's just this other. Then it's some other fluid that we don't know about. That's also gross. There's also like some weird other like pussy bladder inside of a woman that's like, producing squirt. It's like, well, that's weird if that's the case.
And what I've noticed in my field research is every time that you see it kind of like do some kind of like squirting thing, like, like droplets kind of flying in whichever direction, it's usually accompanied by a clit rub. So anytime they squirt and they're not touching their pussy, it's usually just like a piss stream coming out.
Yeah, they got to do the, like, when you put your thumb on the end of a garden hose to really get it to
exactly.
To shoot, to spray.
I like it either way, but
yeah, I have no qualms with piss. We were talking about piss leading into this. There we go. There's a bar. There's a bar for you. I have no qualms with piss. I've seen piss, at least in porn. I've never been pissed on. I was in the shower once, and I pissed on my own hand and tasted it just to see what was up. It's weirdly enough, it's very salty. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think I've tried it once too when I was a young kid, and yeah, it's very, very salty.
It's very salty. Yeah, that's urine. There's a lot of yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It's all the like waste. It's all the like sodium and whatever else is in you pee. Being a human is gross. Like your body does all these like disgusting things, and then there's just something inside of you that's like, I wonder what all these like horrific, gross things my body's doing. I wonder what that tastes like.
Yeah, I can't say I've ever tasted my cum on purpose. And I know everybody does the lie of like you shot some and it hit you in the face and it fucking did like a loop-de-loop, like a fucking abacus down your mustache into your mouth somehow. And I accidentally tasted it. But that's actually happened to me. But I think maybe subconsciously when I was coming towards my face, maybe something deep down in me was like, let's get a little taste of this shit real
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah. I've had it where like I'll be like J O and I'll be doing a J, and in the
Jay
throes of
Okerson.
do what?
Jay Okerson.
I'll be doing
J-O.
it. I'll be doing a Jay Okerson, and in the throes of passion, when I'm at when I'm in the full state, the stages of arousal, I'll think to myself like, I think I'm gonna bust. I'm gonna like see what this fucking tastes like. But then the second I bust, I'm like, ew, get off of me. I don't want. Get away from me. Get away
Yeah.
from me. Come. I don't want you near me. So is yeah, I've never had. I like there's something about being like horned up where you certainly have more of a desire to do gross things, and then the post nut clarity kicks in. You go, what have I done? What was I thinking? What have I been doing? Where am I? That being said, I mean, I'd be lying if I said I haven't tasted it, and like honestly, the real issue with semen is it's a texture thing, sort of like coconut. It's like
Yeah.
it doesn't taste bad. It feels bad in your mouth.
Are you shooting healthy ropes these days?
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, me
Sure.
too. I always feel bad for guys, especially like our age. Like guys in their 30s are like, yeah, it just kind of dribbles out now. And I'm like, can't relate.
No.
Fucking my shit is bussing.
It's a mindset thing, I've talked about this that like our generation seems to be aging mentally faster than any other. They've submitted to being old so quickly, and I think just psychologically it's messing with their loads because I in my mind I'm still 14. I've never felt like I'm grown up, and I'm still busting the nuts of a 14-year-old.
2 14-year-olds.
Mm-hmm. Just a couple of 14-year-olds over here shooting fat, healthy ropes, drinking energy drinks, playing Halo, having a good time.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Drinking game fuel.
drinking Mountain Dew Code Red, dude.
That's something that I can't do anymore that I used to be able to do is when I was like elementary to middle school kid, me and my friends would have like sleepovers and shit. And we'd buy like a 12 case of Mountain Dew and just fucking house it between the three of us. And now if I have like half a can of soda, my tummy's grumbling. I don't know what happened.
Yeah,
Just
I
be
can't drink like regular soda like that anymore. I could drink like 8 Coke Zeros in a day, easy. I've no issues doing that. I don't think that's good. That's not good for you, but I can do that.
Do you
Um,
see any type of fitness journey in your future? I mean, you don't look like a extremely overweight guy.
no,
Maybe just could be a little slimmer.
I've always been good at I wear it well. I'm probably like the fattest I've ever been. Because following the brain accident, I mean, I've had doctors tell me they're like, yeah, this happens. Like when people who go through what you've gone through and who deal with like the depression afterwards, the sort of like just the way you shut down, they're like, you're gonna gain a lot of fucking weight. And so because like when I was when I was like in the craziness, the psychosis, I was in very good shape because I wasn't eating and I was just active all the time. I had so much energy. So I was like very fit and I was limber and moving a lot. And then I ballooned out. And so I've been up and down my whole life. Like I'll have like stretches where I'm just like fat as shit, and then I get kind of fit, and I get fat again. It's a journey. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And that's not to say I could run a marathon right now. I could probably barely run a mile. I could walk a mile, maybe. I don't know if I could run one. I could crank out a good 20-minute mile if you put me on the treadmill. I think I could do it in 20.
Yeah, well, I know I think you've made mention of this before, and I know you maybe have some stuff going on with your feet that I've seen, but like
Oh yeah.
are you at like a constant pain level pretty much like throughout the day?
No, it's gotten better over the years. It used to be like really bad. Like I used to just be in so much pain all the time. And I guess just through like I don't know. movement and stretching and just like doing things on my own to mitigate it, I don't really notice it anymore. I mean, there's still my feet are still like horrifically misshapen, but I don't deal with like I used to have it to where like I would just be like standing still and like no one would know that I like was just grinding my teeth because it hurt so much. But I don't deal with that anymore because I'm more mindful about footwear. That's a big thing. I gotta have the right shoes and just like mobility and just making sure that I'm stretching and doing what I gotta do to, take care of my little tootsies there. Because I had a doctor like go over with me what it would take to do any sort of reconstruction, and he said like I could get these close to normal, but he was like the what it would take is so invasive and just so time consuming. I don't even recommend it. He was like I got to go in and like complete like RoboCop your feet basically. Like I got to do a complete overhaul on these things, and it would have to be like he was like I can only do one at a time, and the recovery time for each foot is 6 months. And he was like, so you're going to be out of commission at least a year if you do this.
You'd have to get like a pimp your feet episode basically, where Exhibit's like, "Yo, dog, I put a foldable television inside your toenail."
Yeah. I tried. I auditioned for a TLC show called My Feet Are Killing Me. I was like, maybe I can get TLC to fix them. But I didn't get it. And then like I watched some clips from the show when it came out, and I was like, oh, I'm actually normal compared to what they're up to on this show. Like the people they find some real freak shows for those things, those TLC programs. So I think I'm fine.
Yeah, that's another example in life of you just looking at these freaks and being like, "Well, I know my feet are bad, but not as bad as
Yeah,
these motherfuckers."
dude.
I'll be all right.
I this started with the pandemic, and I'm not as into it as much now, but I'll dip back in every now and then. But I got really into Dr. Pimple Popper for a minute, and I don't know where she's finding these fucking carnival acts, but it's like the name of the show is not inaccurate. She technically does pop pimples for a living. What you see on the show is so far beyond pimples. It's like it's people with you can't even understand like how they've let this happen. Like people will come in and they'll have like 9 bowling balls on their head, like just giant fucking orbs that are just like jutting out of their skull. And she's like, "How long have you had this?" And some guy from like South Carolina will be like, "Well, I reckon my entire life." And she's like, "So has this like had any? How does this affect your life?" And he's like, "Well, I ain't left the house in about 15 years. I'm scared to go. People look at me funny, and I can't talk to girls because he's got just like these fucking Darth Maul horns on his head." and and it's like, and it seems like what it takes to fix this is not terribly invasive. Like it is like a minor surgery, but they're awake the whole time. But she does have to go in and like cut into these things and like actually pop them. Like it'll be these fucking giant cysts that she's getting into and like squeezing them out of some guy's head. And I watch it and I'm just like, this is not a pimple. I don't know what the fuck this is, but this is like this guy's a fucking mutant. And I'll just watch like hours of that.
Yeah, I don't know how you do that. That's one like I've watched a lot of gross shit in my life, but that's just one that like I gotta turn away from. I'd almost rather watch like a cartel beheading than like pimple pops.
Yeah, pimple pops are gnarly. I don't watch as much anymore, but like in the height of the pandemic when we were deep into it, and there was just like I was just running out of shit to even care about. I was like, well, what's going on with Dr. Sandra Lee, Dr. Pimple Popper? And I was like, oh, this is Pimple Popper is just barely scratching the surface. These are fucking like life altering cysts. These are like ruining people's lives, what these people have to deal with. And I'll just watch like hours of her busting into these fucking cantaloupes.
I think it'd be pretty cool if you just like got on steroids and got like really strong, like a white Mark Henry almost, and just like anybody that talks shit to you online, you can just figure out their address and just go to their house and beat the fuck out of them, and that's your content. Just make like 15-minute YouTube videos.
Yeah. I wish I had that in me. Like I'll watch like Sam Sulik videos. Do you know that guy?
No, I thought you were gonna say Sam Hyde. I don't
No.
know Sam Stulik.
Speaking of Sam Hyde, I tried to watch that thing that it was Nick Rochefort and Tim Dillon did something together recently, some podcast, and I watched like 20 minutes of it, and I was like, this is the most unrelatable conversation two people have ever had. I can't I can't even find what's entertaining about this, because it was, to me, it was just so off-putting. It was just two guys, two men of means, two wealthy seeming guys just talking about real estate and how they're like, yeah, I was looking at one house for 2.5 million, but I decided to go for this one that's 3 million. And I'm like, how are people not getting upset by that? Like people who can't even pay their fucking rent are supposed to tune into this shit.
That's another group, the $1 million extreme guys who really have no shame whatsoever in their grifting. If you watch any of their live streams, like especially the ones with Sam, it'll just be Sam and Jet sitting there, and they'll just be silent. Like there'll just be dead air. And in order to get your chat read, you have to donate like $25.
That's crazy.
It's
yeah,
fucking insane.
I've watched some of the stuff they do as far as podcasting goes. I think like as smart and funny as Sam can be, I don't think him or Nick are very good broadcasters. I think that like their talents are in trolling and sketch comedy and stuff like that. But I've watched some of their like podcasting. I'm like, this sucks.
Yeah, it almost feels like Sam's kind of disposition doesn't really translate to broadcasting. It's almost like he's got to be either more reactionary, or the whole thing has to have some sort of angle. For him to just be sitting like chopping shit up is like, I don't know. It doesn't make so much sense.
Yeah,
people could say that about me, I guess.
It's like really, Raphael, this is live. This is live. I'm talking to you right now. This is the future, brother. What's going on? Wait, what happened in the chat? The self-help stuff is a bit weird. Yeah, I don't know how anybody could just see what Sam looks like and listen to what he has to say about how to handle your life. Like if you just take a look at that guy, be like, I don't know if I'm going to listen to what he has to say about how I should be conducting myself. Like how I'm going to help myself. I've seen a bunch of that stuff, and like there are times like he actually says something like kind of poignant, but also I don't know what's real with that guy.
It's impossible to know.
Yeah, that's the weird thing about him. That he's like done more and more of this like candid type stuff. It was just like knowing what I knew about him prior to all this, I was like, it's just odd that he's trying to get into this realm of entertainment, because it's like, well, you were always like shrouded in enigma and irony. Like no one ever knew like who the fuck you actually were, and so now you're gonna like, posture as though you're revealing all to the world in these like long form broadcasting avenues. So I don't know.
Yeah, and it almost seemed like a bit at first with him kind of getting in shape and starting to box and stuff like that, but now it almost seems like it's become part of who he is, and he likes to kind of like beat up people any chance that he can really see.
Yeah, Robbie told me something really funny. That this is like while I'll never not be a fan of his, like I'll never turn on him completely, even though I think a lot of what he does is kind of mean spirited and shitty. But Robbie said that when he was at Skankfest Vegas this last time, he talked to Sam, and I think just asked Sam like, what are you working on these days? And he said Sam told him, I'm developing the world's strongest punch. And I was like, now that's the Sam we want. That kind of just like, what does that even fucking mean?
Yeah.
I'm developing the world's strongest punch. It's so funny. I'd rather have that than him trying to give me self-help advice. Debt maxing is cool though. Yes, Squatopotamus in the chat mentioned debt maxing, which is just stop paying your bills. which by the way does kind of work because like due to my like brain stuff that I went through, I got some shit that has been unattended, and like I'll get these emails from Credit Karma every now and then. They'll say, "Great job, you're on a roll. Your credit score just went up." I'm like, well, that's not because of anything I fucking did.
Yeah, I'm definitely in debt just from all the studio equipment and computer shit that I've gotten has all been basically credit cards, and I was supposed to be like a millionaire by now and pay it all back, but I haven't.
Now that you're partnered up with me, the first billionaire podcast or the Billionaire Podcast Network, did you fill her up? You're well on your way, and don't set your sights higher than $1 million. That's nothing these days. We're going far above $1 million. You know, $1 billion.
I just don't know if I want to be a guy that has $1 million. I
you
think
said
that might be
that's the white trashing. That's the wigger in you. That like refusal of success and wealth and comfort. I've dealt with that my entire life. My entire family's like that. They just don't ever want to succeed in spite of how talented some of them are. Granted, there's some members of my family that are real fucking retarded that have no chance. And then there's other people in my family where I'm like, why are you working at a fucking cardboard warehouse? You know, you're like one of the smartest people I've ever met, and you're like on a factory floor making cardboard all day. It's just, you know, it's just that sort of self-hatred that's instilled in you. But, you know, A, growing up in the South, and B, being a wigger, you know.
Yeah, and I think part of it's maybe what you were quoting the last time we talked, the Dune, the Revelation prophecy thing. There's probably some of that is involved in my mind, some foretelling there. But to be honest, I'm basically being a phony because I know subconsciously that $1 million would mean that I don't have to work again, and that's the ultimate goal.
Well, I've thought about that. I think what the reason anyone is able to get, because like when you see a millionaire, the reason, where do you work, Blue Key? Do you work at Warehouser? Anyway, somebody said they work at a cardboard factory. The reason I think people that are that wealthy were able to achieve that and sustain it is because there was never anything in them that wanted to quit working. That like once they found the thing that they really enjoy doing and started making money doing it, there was they've never had the idea that they want to slow down. And so I think like what allows people to like build that kind of wealth and keep it going and hold on to it is sort of like almost like like an obsessive quality where it's like, no, I don't want to retire ever. And it's the people that want to actually reach some point of retirement. They just don't stand a chance of ever even getting that kind of wealth because it's already baked into them that there's this end goal, which is like fucking off, you know, at some point. And then like people who are actually successful, who really succeed, they, you know, they'll just do it till they drop dead. You know, they'll just keep working. You know, look at, especially like if it's something you love to do. There was a documentary about this. Did you ever see that Carl Reiner documentary?
Mm-mm.
It's called, it has a long title. It has a really terrible name. I think it's like, if you're not in the obituaries, have breakfast. I think is the name of it. And it's just about like old people, like really, really old, successful people who seem to not really feel old and are also rich as shit. And like what has led to this kind of longevity and this like spryness in them. And like it seems like the commonality between all of them, because it's like I think a lot of the people in the documentary is like Carl Reiner, Dick Van Dyke, Tony Bennett, Mel Brooks, just a lot of these like really old entertainers, is that they just like found this thing they love to do and kept doing it and made their wealth, made their money doing that. And so they've just lived a life of like pure joy and fulfillment. And so they're just like, they're not dead. I mean, Carl Reiner's dead, but at the time he wasn't. So they're not dead. And they also don't even seem old, other than like they look old, but the way they, you know, they're not Joe Biden. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you watch like this new season of Curb Your Enthusiasm, that's not, I've never met a man who's like pushing 80 that acts that way. in real
Yeah,
life.
I've actually been Curb might actually be my favorite show of all time, and I've been saving the episodes so I can binge it. I might start like when it's halfway through. I'm hoping it's a good last season, but I think it's a good move to cut it off before
Dude,
it.
I can't believe that because I'm caught up. I'm watching it, and it seems like so far the thesis of this season is let's get Larry in a room with as many black people as possible. I can't believe they've waited this long to just have it be like, so here's what Larry is like when he's around as many black people as as he's ever been around on this show. It's so good. I can't believe how good it still is.
That sounds great because I think possibly maybe not my favorite episode, but the most rewatchable to me is the Crazy Eyes Killer one. And that's the whole time just Larry interacting with a black dude, which is just fucking comedy. And they were like,
Dude,
damn, why don't we just do that forever now? And they put Leon in there, which is just fucking magic.
yeah, JB Smoove is, I mean, truly a wonder. Just a instant classic duo. You got Abbott and Costello and Martin and Lewis and fucking Larry and Leon. It's like, dude, those guys rock.
Yeah, and you can kind of tell when you watch it, a lot of it, because I know they do improv a lot on that show, but you can tell almost all of the interactions between Larry and Leon are like improv, and you'll see Leon hit him with some shit where Larry just can't help but break character and laugh. I'm
That's
like,
my
damn,
that's my
this is
favorite thing
good
about the
shit.
show is like how many times it's just these genuine reactions where Larry or like all of them will just start laughing at each other, and it's like it almost like breaks kayfabe where it's like, oh, I'm not even watching a scripted show at this point. I'm just watching people have a good time.
Yeah,
It's a cool show.
it rules, and I don't understand how it's gone on so many seasons and still been like just good every season.
Because he's allowed to do whatever he wants. I mean, it's like this last season is the 12th season, but the show started in like '99, so there's been years where it just wasn't on, where he was just like, I'm just gonna like take off. So
Yeah,
he just has like full autonomy because if you create Seinfeld, you kind of get to do whatever you want after that.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
pretty
He
cool. I wish
rules.
I could have created Seinfeld.
Yeah, that would have
Um,
been sick.
I've been tight. I've been cool to have been involved in that. Yeah,
Yeah, Curb rules, Sopranos rules, and Breaking Bad rules. It just the more you rewatch it, the more unrealistic it is. But
I never thought
those,
it was realistic. I always thought Breaking Bad was like fun, but also like very cartoonish. Like he would have got immediately. He would have fucking
yeah,
been dead pretty
Breaking
quick.
Bad almost verges on being a part of its own cinematic universe. Like it's not even based like in our real world. It seems like.
Mm-mm. No, it's just it's what TV always was and has been and is. It just seems like it's more than what it is. Not to say it's a bad show. I'm not denigrating it in any way, but TV has always been kind of like um more like junk food compared to movies. Like TV is like easily consumable and not of the same quality as movies. And Breaking Bad still falls into that, even if people think it's like prestige TV, whatever that is. It's like it is like at times a really stupid show, but it's
Yeah,
fun. It's fun.
yeah. And speaking of movies, I think I heard you mention one on something I was listening to you do. Uh, but I just watched this for the first time and it fucked my head up. I just watched Being John Malkovich.
Oh hell yeah, nice
That
dude.
shit, I was I still can't decide. Like I'm happy I watched it, but I feel like the goal is to piss you off and make you feel anxious the entire movie,
Yeah,
which is kind of cool.
it's been a long time since I've seen it. Who directed that, right?
Spike Jones, right?
Spike Jones from Jackass.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. He's a really good director. It's weird how like out of all those guys, he's probably like the only one who's done anything of quality since Jackass.
Yeah,
Like,
it's interesting that you'll have a guy on set who directed what I would assume at the time, because now you see all these kind of weird fantasy like movies and like Sorry to Bother You and shit like that. But like at the time, I think that was a pretty innovative movie for what was going on. And then 10 feet from that guy, you just have a fucking drug addict eating shit on
Yeah.
camera.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen it, but I think it's Charlie Kaufman wrote it, and he wrote it for John Malkovich. Like he picked John Malkovich. I forget like why specifically it was him. I think it had to do with like he was just the right level of famous. I think was like the reasoning for that. That he was like a good actor and not like really famous, but well known enough that it works. But yeah, that's definitely like a kind of like a surrealist, um, you know, anxious movie that I'm supposed to learn something from watching it. I don't know what it's like. I don't really know what it's really saying, to be honest with you. I'm too stupid to figure that out. It's fun though. I do like the movie, and it's kind of scary. This is horrific. The implications, like, damn, dude. Now there's just a bunch of old people having a gangbang in John Malkovich's head at the end.
Yeah, and the guy gets John Cusack gets stuck in
He gets stuck
the
inside of his
fucking,
daughter.
which it didn't really feel like he deserved that. But it's
Yeah, that's
like, damn, I guess that's just how it goes.
That's
I
a
don't know.
horrific fate. Yeah, yeah, it's a cool movie. It's
Did
been a
you?
long.
It reminded me of which I guess this movie would remind me of that because it came later. But it kind of reminded me of Sorry to Bother You. I don't know if you've seen that with Lakeith
Yes,
Stanfield.
yeah, the Boots Riley, uh, Boots Riley, the rapper. He directed that.
Yeah.
He's a commie. The whole movie's about communism.
That's why all that activist shit is in there.
Yeah, yeah, it's like a very agenda driven like activist movie. I liked it. I did. I went to the theater to see it when it came out, and I did enjoy that movie. I felt like the twist, the third act was like, I don't think there was anything foreshadowing that. It felt like that really came out of fucking nowhere. Um, but it was fun. I thought it was a fun movie, and I think the first time I became aware of Lakeith Stanfield. He's a great actor. I like him.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah, it wasn't like the greatest movie. It was worth watching, but the casting was amazing. You had fucking Danny Glover in the office with him, and then the dude who plays one of the Winklevoss twins in Social Network, whatever.
Oh, Army
Army
Hammer. He plays both of them in the movie.
Yeah, that's right. And then
he's done
yeah,
for.
he plays a great dickhead.
Yeah, remember what happened with him? They found out that he might be a cannibal or something. So
Yeah,
he's canceled because he was like the DMs that got leaked from him were fucking weird. It was like him talking to women, like telling these like, women this fantasy he has, like, I wish I could put you on the fucking barbecue and cook you and eat you. and
yeah,
and
he
then
got canceled.
and then they found like a bunch of bodies or something outside one of his properties. It was really
Oh,
strange.
shit, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, it was like he had some property or something in the desert. I forget where, and then like come to find out there was just like a bunch of bones and stuff like that they dug up. I don't know what was going on there. I never hated him as an actor. I always thought he was like a decently like just a decent hot guy. You know, he was just a hot guy actor. Thank you, C Dumps, for catching that. Canceled. you said canceled.
Yeah, it wasn't good. It didn't need to be rehashed. It's okay. I was fine if that one got lost in the mix.
I wasn't gonna say anything, but C-Dumb's in the chat. She's a premium member. She's a member of the premium the YouTube membership. By the way, folks, let's get some super chats going. I'm doing Findom now.
And it can't be C Dumps every time.
Yeah.
You know, C Dumps is kind of keeping our fucking, you know, she's basically like fucking paying our light bills at this point. We need other people to mix in with it.
Yeah, which one of you fucking cuck sluts wants to give your Findom daddies some money? You pigs, you fucking idiots.
I'm always impressed with your angles on how to defend against trolls. And when I saw some dude talking shit to you and you just sent him a picture and sent him your Venmo, like you have to send me money to talk shit to me like that or whatever you said. But
Dude, that's what
it's
they.
great.
I've been for weeks now. I've been lurking on Findom Twitter. I followed like a ton of these different like Findom mommies and just like studying what they do, and it's like psychotic stuff that's going on there.
I can't
But
understand it at all.
dude, as a sexual proclivity, as like a fetish, I don't fucking get it, because it seems like the fetish is you pay a woman to scold you for not paying her enough. You give her
Yeah.
money and she's like, "Fuck you, you fucking small dick bitch.
And
This is all you got."
I would almost understand it. Like, I still wouldn't completely understand it, but like, if it was like a tease, like if you paid a woman to come into your hotel room and she like kind of squats over your face but doesn't touch you and kind of like puts her boobs in your face but smacks your hand when you try to touch him and then she just leaves. But it's not even that. Like, it'll be like a dude goes to his ATM in the rain and just she rolls the window
Yeah,
down. He gives her the money and doesn't say shit to him.
I saw
Like,
one. I saw one yesterday. There's this one lady I follow who was like, she just posted the receipt from this dinner she went and got and was like, "Which one of you fucking little dick pricks wants to pay for my dinner?" And then like the next post was the Venmo receipt, and she was like, "Yeah, you might get a blurry video of me having sex with another guy. You cuck. Give me more money." It's like that's all it is. And so I was like, "Oh, I could do Findom if all it is posting and just telling people to calling people retards and telling them to give you money." I was like, "I'll do that. See what happens." Somebody did send me $10. I got a Venmo I got like a Venmo notification. It's like, "Here's $10." So I'm doing Findom now. And that's what this all live streaming is. It's also an extension of Findom. Just get the people in the chat to throw money at us. You pigs.
yeah, you fucking
Cucks.
dickless bitch, fucking cocksuckers.
Yeah, you dickless louts. Yeah, I am like the shit that I've been into lately, like what I've been following and engaging with online. It is furthering my descent into madness. Dude, my whole Twitter feed now is just like all different genres and subgenres of horrors. Like, I'm just following nothing but thoughts and e-girls and mommies and stuff like that. And just like by the end of the day, I feel like I'm crazy. I've been engaging with so much mental illness.
Yeah, you might have to mute like all of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Not Femoid. I can't. Dear friend of the show, Femoid. She's a great follow because the shit she posts is so goddamn unhinged. Like, I can't help but engage with it.
I'm like scared to say anything about her.
Yeah,
Almost.
yeah, she is kind of a scare. But that was the thing, is like I did that interview with her and then like posted that it was going to come out, and I had people reaching out telling me like, "Hey man, be careful associating with this person." I'm like, "Who the fuck is this? Who is she?" And
Yeah, I think you used the word whiplash, which was interesting because I said the same exact thing when I started listening to it, because I started, and when I saw you were having her on the show, I looked at her profile and I saw the dick pics and I was like, "Oh, hell yeah. This is nice. She's hot."
yeah,
And then you started the show, I found out they were fake, and I went from thinking that she was possibly a new T-girl on my roster to being one of the biggest bitches I've ever been confronted
dude,
with.
I know, right?
And my neck fucking snapped back. I couldn't handle it.
Yeah, like talking to there were so many moments in that conversation where she would hit me with something where I would be like, "Whew, okay, I gotta readjust now," because that was I thought the thing you said before was the most insane thing I ever heard until you said this. Yeah, that was a
You couldn't
crazy
really
fucking.
even you couldn't put a finger on her because like one minute it seemed like she would be getting offended about some type of women's issue, and the next she's saying like it's okay to make fun of black people and retard this and retard that, and I'm like, what the like, she's like every dark hair, light eyes girl that will ruin your life. Just all cemented into one.
Oh yeah, she definitely reminded me of some women I've known that where I'm like, even the conversation with her, and I've had this feeling many times in my life, just like walking away from a conversation with like a certain kind of woman and just feeling bad, like feeling like just like something has died inside of me. Like I gotta go pray.
Yeah, and
I feel like
I
I've
think
been
it's
attacked.
I feel like it's hard to get people on board with kind of what you're trying to do or what I'm trying to do, which is just like turn the mics on, turn the camera on, and we might end up talking about tits. We might end up talking about Harry Potter. Who knows? But we're trying to make it funny. Whereas with what she's been through as like an OnlyFans girl and the podcast that she's been on in the past, which are very antagonistic, it's almost like the whole time she was on with you, it's like she's trying to find the argument. Like,
Yeah, I told
how
I
can we
told her
argue?
that I told her that like a number of times during that conversation. Like, I really don't understand why we're arguing. That I was like, I did not bring you on to this show to do that. I just was like interested in talking to you. There's no reason for us to debate anything right now.
My big thing too, and this is like kind of a fucking gay commie question. I know it's hypocritical, but to me it was like, okay, so she used to do OnlyFans, she made bank off of that, but now she feels like paying sex workers is rape, and she wants to keep people from doing this. So it's like, but you still have all the money, right? That you made doing the
I
shit
don't
that you
think she
don't want
has
other girls
any
to
of the
do.
money. I don't think she has any of the money. Like from what it sounded like talking to her is her husband pays for everything now. I don't think she has any of the money that she was making left. I don't
Dude,
know.
unless she's a complete troll character, what I can only imagine the
You,
mental shit that guy goes through.
you know that whole conversation though, what my takeaway from it reaffirms something I've known for a long time. Being a woman, at least a somewhat attractive woman, is just life on easy mode. It's just like so many things can go wrong, and you're still fine. You'll be fine no matter what. If you're
Yeah.
just like a decently attractive woman, there's always gonna be some way that you'll just like be okay. And you may end up having to just like marry a guy. Not the worst, case scenario.
And I feel like that was pretty much defined when she was talking about like the paying for sex being rape thing. Basically, like in her mentality, the way she's lived her life and her environment, it's considered rape to her to not be able to pay her bills. Like, she's like, imagine like if that girl doesn't have sex with that guy, she can't pay her bills. And it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
So you go
I
work another job.
I
You go work
wonder
at fucking
that
Popeyes.
I wonder that about a lot of these types of women, like a lot of these content creators, influencers, whores. If any of them have ever actually had like worked a real job, like the sort of entitlement attitude they have about what they do, where it's like I need this to pay. This is how I pay my bills. I need this. I have to do this. And it's like you don't have to do that. You don't have to do what you're doing. You can go get a real job. It's going to pay 20 times less than doing OnlyFans for you, but you don't have to do this.
Yeah,
This is
it's like a guy doing Jackass. It's like one of those Jackass guys being like, "Man, my body's beat up, but like I got to do this shit for the money." And it's like, "No, you really, I mean, maybe you should. Like if I was you, I'd probably keep doing it, but you don't have to." Like, I don't
yeah.
know.
No, yeah, you don't have you like nobody's making you do your hobby or what nobody's making you pursue your dreams. If your dreams are starting to wear you out or it feels like it's not what you wanted it to be, nobody's really making you do this at this point. It's just now you have to go get a real job that's going to pay less. Whoops.
Yeah, welcome to being a man. And
Yeah,
you're still hot, so your second option if you don't want to fuck is just go find a dude with money that's ugly and will pay for
yeah.
all your
Just
shit for at
move
least
in
a
with a
year.
guy. I've known women that's happened. Like they reach a certain age and they're run through. They have nothing to show for anything they've ever tried to do in their lives, and then they just move in with a guy. It's like okay, and then like they live with him for a few months, and then it's like oh we're engaged. It's like okay, you're fine. You're fine. Like just please just all I ask admit that this is life on easy mode. Admit that for like all the dumb shit you have to deal with as a woman that sucks for sure. It's still, if we tally it all up, you're living a much easier existence than guys like me who have to do podcasting to survive.
Yeah, and that's why the only women that I listen to, and it pains me to, is ugly women. Because honestly, ugly women have it harder than men. Because not only are they ugly, but they don't even have the looks to make their life easier. So it's almost
No,
kind of worse
no.
than being a man. But if you're a hot girl, I don't need to hear anything of your opinion on life experience or how hard life is. Like you said, it's on easy mode.
It's yeah, it's just easy mode. I dealt with it a lot in comedy. Like I would see these, like I used to live with one. I used to live with like a hot girl who was doing comedy, and I would just see the like her day to day and the shit that she like would complain about was stuff that I wish that I at least got to complain about. Like she was getting booked for all the things I wish I could get booked for, and it was just having an easier time navigating all of that because she's, people want to fuck her, and there's nobody who books anything that wants to fuck me. I have to prove myself, and
Yeah.
so that's the difficulty. That's the trade off. Women always talk about how hard they have it in like whatever the entertainment industry, whatever it may be, and it's like, but your version of having it hard is just there's guys that want to fuck you, so you just have endless opportunity, really, and you just have to like swat some dicks away from you if you don't want them there. If you go ahead and suck them, you can actually be in a movie. If you go ahead and suck some of those cocks, you get to be in a movie. But if
Yeah, it's a classic joke. I'm pretty sure hundreds of comedians have made it, but it's like you have the option to suck a dick to get onto something.
yeah,
Like that's at least an option for you. You don't ever have to say yes. But
yeah, it doesn't because at the end of the day, it's like it doesn't take a lot to be an actor. I mean, like navigating that whole industry seems like it really is just about who you know and what you're willing to like do to get cast in these things. But it like actors seem to be like developmentally disabled. Like they seem like truly the stupidest people I've ever seen. So I don't like whatever their talent is. I don't know. It seems like it doesn't look like it's a difficult job. And then like there are really really good actors, but that's like the exception. Most actors are just idiots, and there's a guy there telling them where to stand and when to talk, and that's
yeah,
acting.
it's an odd thing when an attractive person is actually a good actor. Because you take like Leo, who's like pretty like one of the most talented actors, I would say. And it just so happens that he's attractive and happens to be a great actor and has been doing it for decades and decades and decades. But if you look at somebody like Steve Buscemi, like that guy was his looks were not doing him any favors.
No, but this is something I talked to Robbie and Nick Oldershaw about this a lot. We've done like a show about this a couple times. Those kinds of guys are, those are the character actors. Those are the kind of ugly people who are the best actors, but they just don't have
Yeah.
leading man characteristics. Like physically, they're ugly. So they don't really get to be leading men, but they're usually just the best actors. So it's like, yeah, like Steve Buscemi's one, Philip Seymour Hoffman,
Yeah.
Paul Giamatti, um, who's another one, Brian Doyle Murray, Bill Murray's brother. Yeah,
Danny DeVito sort of like thrust himself into like leading man kind of, but it's
yeah,
always kind of like a wacky thing.
yeah. Danny DeVito is his weird thing because it's like he's so well known, he's so beloved, but he's like a literal troll. He's like an actual troll. But yeah, he's had some good leading roles, and he's directed movies too. He's like done a pretty good job as a director a couple times. And he's I think the reason It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia was able to stay on the air. So
Yeah, I always say that um I feel like Danny DeVito, like I don't think you'd watch Always Sunny without him, but I feel like the reason that that show has as many seasons as it does is fucking Glenn Howerton, the dude who plays Dennis Reynolds. Because I think if you looked at their scripts, the other cast members on an average episode probably have maybe a couple pages of dialogue, and he's got a fucking book. Like that
Yeah,
dude speaks so much during the episode.
I think him aside from DeVito, I think him and Charlie are like the two best actors aside from DeVito, and then Rob and Caitlin, they round it out. But I would definitely say like Glenn. I think Glenn especially is like proven himself as a good actor now because he did that BlackBerry movie, and it seems like he's now revealing himself as like having real chops as an actor. And Charlie has tried. He's tried to. I've seen him and stuff, and it's always just like, well, it's Charlie. There's Charlie. He's doing Charlie.
He's never been in anything where his voice isn't going to raise at some point.
I like him in Pacific Rim. I like him in that movie, and he's fun in Horrible Bosses. I guess he's okay as Luigi.
I still haven't watched that yet.
I didn't care. I said this on another live stream I did that as bad of a movie as the 93 Mario movie is, I think it's more interesting than this one. This is just
I rented that at least 7 times.
As a kid, I watched it a lot.
Yeah.
When you're a child, you don't know what quality, you don't know that you're watching a shitty movie. You're just like, yo, this rocks. I watched it a lot as a kid, and going back and rewatching it, it's like, oh, this movie is it's astounding how bad this is. But I think like thematically and aesthetically, it's a much more interesting movie than this new one. I mean, they're two completely different things. Like this is obviously a children's movie made by like a huge animation studio. Like this thing was developed in a laboratory to be, this was scientifically made to make $1 billion. They knew what they were doing with this one. I think the other Mario movie was whoever was involved with that, they were taking some wild swings, and they at least did something interesting. Where it's like, yeah, this is not a good movie, but I'll watch this more times than I'll watch this new one. Because I watched the new one and I was just kind of bored. I just was like, yeah, there's nothing really interesting happening here. I'm not, I get it. And I recognize these things from the video game.
Yeah, I don't know exactly who it was for because I watched it so long ago that I think when I was watching it, I almost kind of believed like, oh, these are the real dudes that Mario is based on. Like that's probably what I thought. But like,
the live action one.
Yeah, it was almost sort of like dark. Like there's like there's this one point where they're in this underground place with like creatures, kind of like the Star Wars cantina, and they're like eating bugs and shit.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is like like I was saying, the new movie is just like this big, bright, colorful spectacle where it's like I recognize all of this. I've seen this in the video game, so it's like it taps into that like for anyone of any age. It just is unlocks that childlike part of you that's like, I've played these games, I recognize this. The 93 movie is a vague approximation of whatever's in those games, but it's like this dark, twisted perversion of it. It's just like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, it's like I think Coen Brothers wrote fucking Mario Brothers.
Yeah, it definitely seems like somebody was trying to be a little artsy fartsy with it and take some liberties. I mean, like the idea of it is interesting. Like the plot of the movie is like a fun idea where it's like whatever meteor wiped out the dinosaurs was actually such a cataclysmic event that it like ripped open a hole in reality, and now there's like two different universes, one in which primates evolved into humans, and then the other one is dinosaurs evolved into something resembling humans, but not quite, but still humanoid. And so these two realities have been evolving alongside each other. And then the Mario brothers have to jump to the dinosaur world and go on their little adventure. That's a cool idea, and the movie looks good. I could live in that version of the Mushroom Kingdom, the Blade Runner Mushroom Kingdom. That looks tight. It's just it's just a bad movie. None of it's done well.
Yeah, the new one I think I'm gonna have to watch now because I think when you guys were getting to the bottom of Donkey Kong the other night, uh, I found you guys said the DK rap is in the movie, and
yeah, there's a sequence where they got to go recruit Donkey Kong to join them on their journey, and so they go to the land of the Kongs or whatever. And so when
Africa.
when you're introduced to the Kongs, they do play the rap as part of the movie, and that was pretty tight.
That might actually be the first rap that I ever heard. That there might be no Crack Amico without the DK rap.
You think the DK rap unlocked the Wigger in you?
I think so.
Yeah, I think maybe it's a fun song. It's a fun thing they did for that game. I don't know like what the decision making process was to be like, yeah, let's do a rap for the Donkey Kong game. But it's pretty tight. Isn't not that good of a game. I don't know if you remember it, but it was not very good Donkey Kong 64.
It was very difficult.
It was difficult, and it was very bloated. There was like a lot of like dumb shit you had to do. Like, because there were so many things you had to collect that you had to get, but in order to get a lot of these things, you had to be playing as a certain character. So you just like were constantly backtracking and going back through shit and having to switch out characters to go get like this color banana. And so like a lot of the game is just tedious.
Yeah, there's not much after you turn the game on and just kind of roam the area. Like that part's cool. Where you're like, oh shit, I can swing from vines and I can explore these different areas. And then past that, it's very tedious. I think Super Mario 64 is a much better game and still holds up.
Mario 64 holds up. Folks, we're talking Donkey Kong again. Mario 64 does hold up. I like they probably have made better games since then. They definitely have better Mario games. But being 4 years old and playing that, nothing's ever going to capture that feeling. Nothing's ever going to top that. Being 4 years old,
Those games are built to fucking last too. They're like the fact that it was kind of the first foray into like 3D animation in games, and just the fact that you can get like 120 stars. Like there's so many levels and Easter eggs in that game.
Yeah, well, I mean that was like the first game that did like a 3D, like the 3D thing like that. I think that like set the stage for all the video games after that, because like no one had done it before, and that was the first game that like dropped you in and had where you were able to like move around the world in that way. It was like that, and then like Ocarina of Time, I think, were like the two big innovations in gaming. So that was an exciting ass time, and I played the shit out of that one for sure. It's weird going back to it though, because like there's like a ton of YouTube video essays you can watch about this, like how unsettling that game is. Like it has this like sinister quality to it. Like it's not a friendly game. Like if you play like the next one, Sunshine, that game is like feels more welcoming. Like there's like people you can talk to in the game, and it's like you feel like you're actually part of a bigger world. The 64 game, you feel like truly alone. You're like isolated, and it's just hostile at every turn. There's very few like other characters you can interact with in any like friendly way. Everything else is trying to kill you.
Yeah, you can't really like Toad is almost kind of like a ghost that just gives you messages. Like you can't really communicate with him. The endless stairs are terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is very, very unsettling, very dark.
Yeah.
And it's like in the 2D in the original Mario, when you die, it's just a little cute 2D thing on screen that pops up and you die. And this, like when you die, Mario has like X's over his eyes. It's very
scary,
graphic for a kid. Like,
it's like a vision of hell is brought before you. Look at what you've done. Mario's dead now. Yeah, there's
Well, I
like
don't know
I
why. I don't know why.
do what?
You can go ahead. I was gonna change the subject.
No, but there's multiple hours long YouTube videos about the liminality of the castle, how it exists as a liminal space in the game. Do you know about liminal spaces?
I don't think so.
It's this idea that it's like when a like a place is not serving the like its function the right way. So like if you like go like if you were to go into a mall after it's closed and it's just empty and the lights are off, and so
Okay.
it's like this place that is like usually experienced lively and inhabited with other people is now you're experiencing it in this other way where it's like desolate and you're not supposed to be there. They call that like liminal spaces. And so like the castle in Mario is kind of like that where you get the idea that normally it's this bustling, thriving place, but something bad has happened and now it's just fucking empty. And it feels very like desolate and sinister. And so, if anybody wants to go watch a 3-hour YouTube video about this, there's tons of them. What did y'all say in the back rooms? Yes, John in the chat mentioned the back rooms. I think are an example of like liminal, like it was sort of in that same vein. The back, about the back rooms, not the back walls, the back rooms.
I know what it is. Like I know what the meme is. I know what the picture is, but I don't understand what the origin is.
It's like a creepy pasta augmented reality type thing. Like people are always adding to it and coming up with their own lore. But the idea is that some people have found themselves in the back rooms, and the way that you wind up trapped in the back rooms is wait, who first mentioned sorry, I'm just seeing the chat as I see it. Berserk for Souls mentioned the back rooms first, and then John said back rooms. So sorry, Berserk. I guess I've dropped down to your least favorite loud boy. Sorry, but the back rooms is like you inexplicably no clip through reality. So in a video game when you accidentally like it glitches out and you just walk through a wall or drop through the
Mhm.
floor. So there's the idea is that something happens and you no clip and you just fall into the back rooms, and then there's no so I guess there's no way out, but it just looks like endless um the back rooms of a department store that you're not supposed to be in, like storage space and hallways that you're not supposed to go into as just a regular customer, but it's just infinite. And so there's like different levels to it. It's like SCP, which is something I'm sure you also I'm sure you're familiar with SCP, crack, right?
Sexy child porn? No, I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, I guess you were getting bitches. You were getting too many bitches to know about this shit.
What's
SCP,
SCP?
Secure, Contain, Protect. It's another lore-driven, like augmented reality site that the idea is that somebody said crack knows about PCP. The idea of SCP is that there's this organization in on the site it's called the Foundation, and they exist to manage anomalies in reality, to either like secure, contain, protect, so contain these things, or do what they can to mitigate them. Like if they can't contain it, at least like have contingencies in place to how to deal with certain things. And there's people are always adding to it, so there's like 8,000 different files of just like different like weird fucked up things. So it's like X Files. It's just like different files that you can read that document some sort of anomaly in reality. So it'll be like a spooky monster, or like a DVD that someone watches, and it's like there's something different on the DVD every time. Or it'll be, there's like so many different. It's difficult to describe because there's so many of them, and a lot of them are like really good. A lot of them I'm like, I can't believe this is just anonymous. Somebody should have written this and tried to sell it to somebody. Like it's that good. But that's SCP. Spooky
I'll
monsters,
look
just
into it.
spooky stuff. You know,
I'll add that into my list. I need to look at that. I need to look at Frank Zappa.
yeah, you gotta look at Zappa.
I got a
Dude.
lot of stuff to check out.
Yeah, I've been diving back into. I've been revisiting some of my favorite Omar Rodriguez albums. You know Omar Rodriguez Lopez.
No.
He's
Is he
the
your landscaper?
no, he's the original Puerto Rican rattlesnake. He's the Louis J. Gomez of rock and roll, I would say, and Lewis is the Omar of podcasting. He's the guitarist for At the Drive-In and the Mars Volta, but he also has a bunch of solo works, a bunch of solo albums, like a ton of them. You know, like there were times that he was like putting out like 3 in a year, and so I've been going back through some of my favorites. You know,
Is he sort of like a Jack White style character, where he's just
um,
continuously making music with or without people?
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, he's always like, even when like whatever bands he was involved with were, you know, not making anything at the time or broken up or on a hiatus, like whatever, he's always had this like solo, the Omar Rodriguez Lopez projects. Um, and so he's got like 100 solo albums, I guess.
Damn.
Yeah, he's got a ton of them. It's sort of like Buckethead in that way. If you know what Buckethead is.
I played Guitar Hero.
Yeah, because I think Buckethead has what, like four or 500 solo albums. Yeah. So I've been going back. Oh, Raphael in the chat. I agree, Raphael. Thank you for saying that. Raphael said he listened to the At the Drive-In discography, and he said he likes the first album as much as Relationship of Command. I have said this. I've said that Acrobatic Tenement is a great album, and most people only, you know, give flowers to Relationship of Command. But I've said that Acrobatic Tenement and In Casino Out and Via are all fucking great. Like as good as Relationship of Command. Craig knows what's up. He knows what we're talking about.
At the drive-in, I don't think I've ever heard anything by them. Mars Volta, I think I've only heard one song. I haven't done a deep dive into them, but Mars Volta, I remember what I listened to was really fucking good.
Well, this is like, I will say this is like an interesting intersection of like punk post hardcore music and Wiggerdom, because Relationship of Command was released in 2000, and the producer for that album is Ross Robinson, the godfather of nu metal. He was the producer on like Chocolate Starfish and Hot Dog Flavor Water, and like a ton of the big like nu metal albums. He was the guy at the time, and they initially did not want to work with him. Like they hated nu metal, but then eventually they got talked into it. It's a beautiful record, perfect front to back, not a bad track on the album, and is, you know, great production on it. I've heard that Omar does not necessarily care too much for the final. Like he has said he wishes that it could have been more punk in its production, but the whole album sounds fucking amazing, and it's, you know, it's the godfather of nu metal, Russ Robinson, that did that.
Nice. Will you vamp for the people real quick? I have to take a piss real quick.
Go PP. I'll talk to the chat. C Dumps mentioned Bernie Brains, Bernie Worrell and Brain, Colonel Claypool's bucket of Bernie Brains. What else is going on in the chat? Great minds. What did Omar do in what did he do in 2020 with Terry Genderbender? Because I know he was on some, I think like that first Le Butcherettes record, and Bosnian Rainbows was also something they did together. What did he do? What did they do in 2020? I may not even know about this. I know that I guess Le Butcherettes are done, or it's just called Terry Genderbender now. I don't know. I know they are. I just saw that the Mars Volta is going on tour soon, and she's opening. for them, so that'd be cool. But yeah, oh yeah, Omar. Yeah, Omar does have that sort of like seems like Zappa beef heart quality. Like yeah, he's like a control freak. Which I guess is difficult to I'm sort of like that with podcasting. That's why the Loud Boys fell apart. I wanted to control everything, and it just didn't work. um, man, have I think I've heard these EPs. Yes, is that I don't? But was that her? That was not her on vocals. I don't think it was somebody else. I know what you're talking about. Those EPs he released on Clouds Hills. Whatever. We're getting into some real. This is like Dean. This is like Dean Del Rey ass territory. Just talking about fucking rock music. Like I even know fucking anything about it. I guess I do know about it, but I'm not a musician. What did John Smith say? I was the funniest of the three Loud Boys by a long shot. Thank you. Thank you, John. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? If I guess if there wasn't as much ego involved, just I'm including myself there, probably would have worked out. But they didn't want to be my Lewis and Dave. You know what I mean?
That's a good way to put it.
That was a conversation Jay had with me and Robbie. Like he told us like when he was like when we were starting out with the Skanks, it kind of bugged Lewis and Dave that they were being seen as like my entourage. And he was like, I bet something similar is happening with you guys. And Robbie like kind of like hung his head down and was like, yeah, we're getting that a lot. Getting that a lot over here. Yeah, so I don't know. Tensions rose due to that.
Well, for me, like this streaming thing, like every time the past 2 weekends, I've been thinking about doing a stream, and then I'm like, fuck, why don't I hit Dalton up and see if he wants to do one? Because for me, like, I would say on any show I'm on with other people, like, I try and just like get in where I fit in, maybe throw out a line somewhere, but like, it's nice to have you carrying most of the fucking conversation because you can do it and you can do it well. So it's kind of, I see it as like a fucking good thing.
Yeah, no, it's tight, man. I'm glad you hit me up. I enjoy doing these. Yeah, like I've been, I guess, just like out of necessity and just exploration, I've been just trying to figure out like, well, what can I do on my own? So I've been just like developing the solo skill set, just doing a bunch of like solo podcasts and just like starting up streams by myself and just seeing what happens. So I have gotten good at like broadcasting. Like I've been developing this skill set that I can guide a conversation now and talk to just anybody. Like I'll do a stream. It'll be like 2:00 in the morning, and I'll just fire up a live stream just to see if anybody shows up, and then I'll put the link in the chat and just start like taking callers. Like people will just hop in, and we'll just talk and see what happens. And it's been fun. And
are you purposely counter programming Legion of Skanks?
No, I don't pay attention to. I really don't pay attention to what anyone's really doing these days, outside of just like some stuff I see here and there on Twitter. I'm out of it all. I don't really listen. I listen to mostly music now. I don't really pay attention to most other podcasts. If I do, it's because I'm watching like Podcast Cringe or Turkey Tom or one of those guys. Just to talk about how much they hate these podcasters, those kinds of shows. But I'm kind of removed from it all. Yeah, so I don't really know. I don't know what the schedule is for anybody.
You premiere at the exact time that Legion of Skanks premieres on Tuesday.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I mean, if you on one hand, if you move to like Monday or Wednesday, you might get more viewers in your chat. But on the second hand, I kind of like how you're sticking it to these fucking old assholes.
I had no idea. Man. No, I didn't know. I just been a lot of the stuff I do is just like whenever, and then like the main show I keep that to a schedule, like 8 o'clock Eastern every Tuesday. But then like everything else is like just whenever it goes up. I was trying to keep a routine with the solo show, but now that's more sporadic than it was because it is difficult to do something like that every week, especially if I'm talking so much on so many other things. It's like, well, what the fuck am I gonna do with this? But
Yeah.
I try to keep doing it. It is like because it's I guess like to unlock that sort of self reliance to be like, well, I mean, if it really fucking came down to it, I can do this. Like I can just talk by myself for like an hour and a half, and there's a show right there, baby. Limbaugh style.
Hell yeah. I guess that talking about the Loud Boys and stuff, I guess that kind of brings us to the question of like we've got this new thing kind of going on right now where it's like, the player haters, the Crowder boys.
The Crowder
Do
boys.
do we bring along our dead weight Robbie Goodwin for the journey? Do we bring him along or do we
I'm happy to have Robbie come along. I just he's doing his own thing these days, and I don't know if he wants to like commit to another thing or like be part of like some other thing. But I'd be like anytime he would want to ever like do anything like this, I'm happy to have him be a part of it. Like I don't, I have no qualms with Robbie. Joe, a little
a lot
bit.
of qualms?
I have some qualms with Joe.
Yeah,
Um,
well, I think you and Robbie together are great at this point, and if I could somehow stick my foot in there and get in there with you guys and say something every 5 minutes, I think we have a great show.
yeah, and whether it's just me and you or if he can hop in whenever, like I'd be happy to do this regularly, like either weekly or bi-weekly, like whenever. And if he's available, great. If not, you and I can hold it down. We got the chat here with us. You know, let's
Well,
get
that's one thing I think instead of doing like a podcast, I think we should just schedule streams.
streams are tight. I mean, the tricky thing is just like I didn't know this, but StreamYard, if you're doing the free plan, you have a limited amount of hours each month. So
Oh yeah.
I don't know. It's $20 a month to upgrade, so I might have to do that. But if I gotta bite the bullet on it, I will. Um,
We'd
but
also have to
stream,
figure out whose channel we're gonna do it on, and if Robbie's doing it with us, does he ever want to stream on his channel? Do we just trade off every week?
right?
That sort of.
Yeah.
How often do we do it? Weekly, bi-weekly? That
Speaking
sort of thing.
of, which one of you cucks wants to give your Findom daddy, your Findom, your Findom mommy some money? uh,
Yeah,
uh,
I don't think we've had a single super chat.
We
You
did.
guys should give.
Squatopotamus gave one. He's a
Okay.
trooper. He's a Findom. He's a Findom cuck because he's also paying for the pre. I feel so mean saying this shit. How do these women do this? How do these Findom mommies act this way all the time?
Well, to be honest with the chat, whoever's here, I think you have to super chat now if you want to see some kind of incarnation of us two and Robbie do a show. Because if nobody super chats, I think that would take that as pretty much nobody wants to see that.
Well,
So,
I will say, I mean, please do super chats. Yes. Lee in the chat says he's losing all his money in online poker currently. That happens. Whom amongst us has not succumbed to the fickle nature of gambling? But I think live streams though. Nobody knows what's going on with algorithms, right? Like none of us on this side of things understand the algorithm. But I do think live streams, the way that the algorithm interacts with them is different because I've had people discover my channel because of these. Like when they're done and they're just up on the channel, they get like pushed by the algorithm in a different way. So it is like I think YouTube is incentivized. Squatopotamus, another super C dumps and squat super chats, $5 from squat, $2 from C dumps. Squat says he wants to see the show but without Robbie.
That's one vote for no Robbie.
That's one. Hey, that's a paid vote for no Robbie. People, folks. Here's the thing: if you don't pay us, Robbie will join the show. Either pay up or Robbie's on the show.
Oh my God.
Oh, John says he's very poor. $2 from John. C-Dump said,
John Castle
you.
is John Castle is a great brother. We actually met on bad terms. He came into my stream and I was saying I hated Tony Hinchcliffe and he disagreed with me and we kind of fought it out. But the reason John rules is because we fought it out, but he stayed around and now we love each other. We bust each other's balls.
Nice.
He's a good guy.
That's how guys express love, you know.
Yeah, like when I called you Swollen Valor.
Swollen Valor. Dude, Swollen Valor made me laugh so fucking hard.
I felt very bad, but
no,
I
dude,
felt
that was so fucking funny. That really got me. C-Dumps gave us another $2. She wants Robbie.
All right, well, we have $3 for not Robbie.
I love this game of just like, hey, so we're gonna figure out what we're gonna do with Robbie. We just need more people to give us money to reach that decision. Lee just gave us his last $5. How is this work? Why is this working? Dude, the internet is tight, dude. I love the internet. Shit rocks.
Yeah, this is great. Well, Lee Rector, rest assured that those last $5, although we're very crucial to you, are much more valuable in our pockets than yours.
Lee Rector damn near killed her. Lee Rector damn near killed her. Northwest Ken, $1.99 for Northwest Ken, no Robbie.
Damn.
It's so funny. It's like no matter what, we get money. My channel does. I'll break off a piece for crap.
I consider you getting money a win for me. I'm a believer in karma.
Yes. Yeah. If karma's real, I'm fucked.
I wish Robbie were here to defend himself. Maybe he could make a case for
just emptied her bank account. That's all she has. Her last $2 she's saving the rest for Skankfest, or either San Francisco or Skankfest. I don't know. Whatever SF means. It's probably Skankfest.
Well, you know what the real grift is, Dalton? What we really need to do? Oh, and you could do this because you have guys with families. You need to have Kevin and Sal come on and show their kids and say that they're like malnourished and have like
we should exploit their children for money. Yes, I've thought.
Yeah, because Tim Butterly, who is a friend of mine, he has kids and he doesn't even like mention the money or super chats at all. But people just give him like $100, $50 because they're like, oh, this guy has kids. Us, we're only responsible for ourselves. These people know we don't need money, but we actually do, guys.
Berserk for Souls, $2. He wants Robbie.
What are we at? Let me do the math on this. I love 5, no Robbie.
I guess let's tally it up. Let's see. Squat, $5 from Squat, no Robbie. Let's see, $2. Well, C-Dump gave us all together $2, $4, $6 for Robbie.
C-Dumps is for Robbie.
Yeah, C-Dumps donated $2 3 times, so $6 altogether for Robbie. $1.99, no Robbie. $2 from Berserk, Robbie. So I think so far Robbie is winning. There's more money for Robbie than for not Robbie.
We got $2 Robbie here, $2 Robbie here. We got a Robbie over here. $2. No Robbie, no Robbie. Come on, guys. We need a cat with cancer. That's not a bad idea.
I love Robbie. The charming thing, the endearing thing about Robbie is that he is a funny guy, but what's really endearing about him is how much people hate him. He's so reviled that it's like charming. It's like, I don't know what you're doing, dude. I don't know why. Because to me, he's less offensive. Like he's less in terms of like what his output is less offensive to me than like so many other people that exist in the realm of comedy and podcasting. But for some reason, people really fucking do not like him. And Squat, another $5 from Squat, no Robbie.
Are we back
Yeah,
even for Robbie?
Berserk. Yeah, Berserk says he does rub people, some people the wrong way, but it's like the thing is though, like it's coming from a sincere place. Like all that the criticisms they're levied against Robbie in that way, he truly just wants to be loved. Like he's not being an edge lord. He's not trying to push anybody's buttons. He's not even like a careerist. Even like I think he certainly does wish he was like wants to be famous. I think more than anything, he just wants to be accepted. And the desperation he gives off, he's so hated. Like I don't get it because it's like he's truly a more engaging and like fun broadcaster than a lot of these other fucking people. But he just exudes this like desperate energy that people are like, "Fuck this dude." When it's like
Well,
he's one of the most
I honestly think.
sincere people I've ever met. Like I always thought it was refreshing.
Well, I think to be honest, I think he's probably gotten a little better at not being so sensitive. But I truly believe that like people would rather him be there to fuck with him than him not be there at all. Which I guess maybe we're finding out that's not true with the chat. But I always thought that like people love pushing Robbie's buttons because like the first thing we ever did with Robbie, I told him to give his plugs and then kicked him out of the room. Like I can see how it's fun to fuck with Robbie, but
Yeah.
like I don't think he gets the same view as a Dylan, which you know, me and Dylan boxed. I don't have any like beef with Dylan, but it seems like with Dylan, like when he's on something, people are just like, fuck, I'm not even watching 2 seconds of this shit.
Yeah.
Some
Well,
people, not everybody, I'm sure.
Dylan comes across. I like Dylan, but Dylan definitely comes across as like posturing, and like some John in the chat say like Robbie doesn't seem very genuine, but like I don't think he can help. He seems genuine to me in the fact that like he can't help himself. Like I think he wishes that he could, you know, keep up appearances and be a careerist and climb the ladder, but he has too much girl brain because I've seen like too many instances where he flies off the fucking handle. Like just something rubs him the wrong way and he just like blows a fuse, and not a good look, but it's very real and sincere and very entertaining to watch.
Dude, a lot of the Loud Boys entertainment was not necessarily the comedy. It was the chaos of it and you guys kind of fighting with each other. So like, I don't know. I feel like if we could do a show with Robbie where, I mean, maybe we don't like exactly bully him, but I mean, if we can get him to fly off the handle, I feel like that's when the numbers fucking skyrocket. People want to see real reality content.
I don't know what the special sauce was with that show, but I mean, we did it like in the big bowl of diarrhea that is podcasting, like how oversaturated it is and how tough it is to get one off the ground now. We did achieve a certain level of success like pretty quickly, and like more than a lot of shows that, you know, have been doing it for a long time. And that, I mean, that could be attributed to just how real it was and how much we genuinely were not getting along.
Well, I think I know we're fucking around with the people in the chat, like everybody's saying no Robbie. I don't even know if they're actually serious, which they're giving money. So if they're trolling and giving money,
Squat I think is dead serious.
But I feel like Robbie is a component on a show where like if he does an impression and it's good, it's funny. If he does an impression and it bombs, then you just trash him. So either way, it's a net positive.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought like I always have enjoyed riffing with Robbie. That's the show, folks. That's the name of the show, Riffing with Robbie. Yeah, Robbie v. Column. If that still exists, like please everybody, if you haven't seen that, I think it's audio only. That was a legendary night because Robbie fucking teed off on Column. And like what Column said to elicit that was nothing.
Yeah.
Column did not deserve that.
I think it took a full minute for the crowd and every other host in the room to realize that Robbie was being serious.
Yeah, I think
that's how out of nowhere it was.
By the way, I think all Column did was make fun of Robbie for having used to be fat. So he wasn't even insulting Robbie now. He was insulting Robbie as a child. He was like, you used to be a chubby kid. And then Robbie was like, you Mick motherfucker. Fuck you. Get your shillelagh and go back to Ireland with your potato. Like, whatever the fuck he was saying. It was like, it made me uncomfortable in the moment. I was like sitting there like, come on, man. Please don't do this shit. We were having a good time. But
there's so many moments on that show where Robbie, like, you guys have somebody else in there, like Ian Fidance or Colin or whoever, and Robbie's like, no, guys, Dalton does this all the time. He fucking, and you're just sitting there like, Robbie, I love you.
yeah. Yeah, it was Squat, you want to find it? I think if the Loud Boys feed still exists, then it should be there somewhere.
I've just been watching select Loud Boys episodes over the past couple weeks. It's all on YouTube.
The Skank. I mean, people in the chat have been mentioning that Skankfest episode, and that was probably like truly where everything was like starting to really fall apart for us. Like, I didn't realize it at the time, but it was like, that was such a fucking shit show, and it just, I'm such a I'm Joker-fied. I'm a Joker cell.
Yeah.
So I was tickled pink by that. I was like, this is going so bad. It was just making me laugh how fucking terrible it was. Like, people were like, half the crowd is left after like 10 minutes, and nobody has formed a single coherent sentence. And I think for the entire hour, nobody does. I don't think anyone ever says anything resembling an actual thought. Kurt walked out on us. It was such a beautiful train wreck. And I think because I look at all like fame and all that shit differently than they do. Like, if I'm hanging around with all these like successful, famous comics, I can recognize that they've achieved something I haven't. But I'm not necessarily like interested in them respecting me. Because they're not my friends. Like, I don't fucking know these people. I mean, it's like, it'd be nice if we could connect somehow, and I could be friends with the legend Rich Voss. But if he never likes me, that's fine. If these guys never respect what I'm doing, I'm fine. But I think Robbie and Joe want the respect of their peers, and so it like freaked them out that this idea that maybe we were might have been seen as like the retards of the festival. And I was like, we were that before this. Like, trust me, like, whatever reputation we have, anyone who knows about us thinks we are the biggest bunch of dipshits at this festival, even before this show happened. But I'm speculating. Who knows? I don't know what they thought. I know they were rattled after that show. Like, it did bother them how bad it went. I was like, I think we'll be fine. We weren't, but that was my fault. That was my fault that everything went to shit. But because like after that show, they were like, "Do you think Lewis will even ask us back?" And I'm like, "Why wouldn't he?" I was like, have you seen the people that get asked to do this festival? You think we're the worst of it?
I was like, yeah. And Lewis thinks in terms of numbers, not why you're getting the numbers. He doesn't care. Lewis doesn't care if everybody fucking hates you. If people care, he'll invite you to Skankfest.
Yeah.
To fill a room at least once.
He told us in the last thing you and I did that he's like, yeah, you can come to Vegas if you want. I don't know if I could pull that off this year. I'm still kind of fucked, but
they should comp you a room.
That'd be tight. But it's like, yeah, I think Lewis, Lewis is a very genuine guy, but also there's some posturing there. I think Lewis gives off this very tough guy, aggressive energy, but he's a damn teddy bear. He's just a boy who didn't have a dad, and then he lost his mom, and he just wants to love and be loved. And that's why he's very community minded.
Well,
And
didn't
he,
have a dad is a vague way to put it. His dad considerably maybe would have stayed around and supported him had he not been ripped from this earth by
yeah, I
another
mean that,
man.
yeah, you know, there's that. Yeah, I mean, his dad was murdered. He didn't have a deadbeat dad. He had a dead dad. um,
Yeah.
that was there was a comic. I'm trying to remember. A buddy of mine in Dallas had that. He had a joke like this. My buddy Tyler had a joke where he's like, "Yeah, my dad died when I was 4. He died doing what he loved, having heart attacks." He's like, "I didn't have a deadbeat dad. I'm more of a dead dad." So shout out to Tyler Elliott, friend of mine, friend of the show. Haven't talked to him in years. I think he hates me now. But I that joke always stuck with me. Um, but yeah, I mean, Lewis is a good dude, and he's very like what I really like about him is he's very community minded. Like he loves being the antagonist, the aggressor. A lot of the times, the character, the heel, as they say in wrestling. But you know, he's a big old softy.
Well, what I really respect about him too, and I don't know if it's because he's been through so much or he's just aware enough to realize that this is his place and this is what we need to get Robbie to realize. But I respect anybody who can not only be the butt of the joke, but like the greatness of the show is that you're the butt of the joke. Like Lewis is laughing harder than anybody when people are making your dad got
That's why
stabbed.
that's the genius of Lewis is like he can like recognize dollar signs. Like he can see beyond his own ego and insecurities, and he sees the bag, and he's like, whatever I got to do to keep people paying attention to this shit and keep making money, it's all gravy. It's like I'll be the butt of the joke, fine. He understands the necessity of the bag, and I think a lot of artsy fartsy little queer entertainers, people trying to be in comedy, they let their own egos and insecurities and whatever shit is going on in their head get in the way of like, you know, how about we just make some money? We could make a lot of money just goofing off, and maybe so what? You get your feelings hurt. There's worse ways to make a living.
Yeah, and the smart thing about Lewis too is that he views what he does as a product. Not so like he's hungry for money, but that's not honestly the worst thing you can be is hungry for money. The worst thing you can be is like, how do I make myself look the best in every situation possible? And that's when your product suffers.
Yeah,
But when with Lewis, like he sees young people like you, he gave an opportunity. Me, he gave me my opportunity. Like he single-handedly did. And he sees the younger guys and the funnier guys, and he's like, if I bring this guy in, it'll make my product better. It's a win for me.
yeah,
That's a smart way to look at it.
yeah. Um, yeah, he's a cool dude. I like Lewis. He did fire us when I went crazy. He did say, please don't come back in the studio if Dalton has gone full. He called me and was like, you're turning into Mark Random. You don't want to be Mark Random. And I was like, oh, am I that? Is it that bad? Now, what is going on? And I was legitimately nuts, but
Well, Mark
I
Random isn't funny. That's
Mark
one thing.
Random is not particularly funny, and he's just, but baseline unhinged. Like when he's normal, he's crazy, and then when he goes manic, it's even worse. Where it's like I've regained my like sense of self awareness and stability, so it's like I'm okay now. And if I ever go crazy again, hopefully not, but hopefully I'll catch it if that ever starts creeping in. But yeah, he just has no awareness.
It
I
would be sick if you went crazy again and then you and Mark Random did a podcast. That'd be pretty sick.
He's asked me to do shit with him, and I just don't really want to associate with him. Like, I feel for him, like I empathize with Random, but he's definitely like he's kind of a bad hombre.
He's done some weird shit behind
He's
the
done
scenes
some,
too.
yeah. I think you and
Zach
I
hates him.
probably, yeah. I think you and I know some of the same stories, so I don't really want to associate with him. Yeah, John, you're right, John. You don't want to, you can't trust people like that. You're right. Um, what did Milo say? Lewis is the highway Rick Ross of Kratom. Yeah.
Well, that is weird. You must have said some like fucked up shit to people because it is weird how nobody really waited for you. You know, it
Um.
felt very fast that everybody kind of moved on.
Well, I one of weirdly enough, one of the people that was there that was like willing to talk to me after the fact was Dan Soder. And I expressed that sentiment to him that, it feels like the people I was working with just like were real quick to get the fuck out. And he like put his hand on my shoulder and he said, "You need to understand something about this business. There's no loyalty." He's like, the second you start crashing and burning, people are looking for the emergency exit. There's not going to be anyone there that's really going to stand by you in that way that you're like talking about. And he's like, it sucks, but you just have to accept it that people are definitely looking out for themselves.
Yeah, and he knew that for sure because a few years later he fucking walked out on Bonfire and said, "Fuck these motherfuckers." Business, baby.
Business, yeah, it is a business, and it's a fickle business because it's like everybody's dream job. But John is right. John says we're here. There were people. The people in my corner never left the damn corner. They stayed in my corner, and I keep I'm not even operating at 100% yet. I'm still Goku is still beaten down, pounding his fist on the dirt, crawling and scraping to stand back up. And the people are lending me their energy for this mighty spirit bomb that is this podcasting that I'm doing.
Yeah, and like I'm joking obviously about Soder leaving the Bonfire. Like I think honestly, sometimes that's a good move, especially if you can feel it. Like I think O&A would have been benefited from that. I think it's smart that Curb is doing it. Like sometimes you have a fucking amazing show on and it's just good to cut it off while it's fucking still great, and that'll be what people remember.
Yeah, I get it, and it's probably also a business decision on his part, just like what he wants to achieve in his personal life and creatively. Who knows? I mean, I don't know what led to that decision, but maybe he just felt it ran its course, and it's kind of antiquated. Sirius
Yeah.
XM, like,
And I think just 8 years, like that's a long time and like a solid run. And you look at, I know he was an O&A fan in some regard, and you look at those two who basically over half of their tenure fucking hated each other, and
yeah,
that's for the fans. It was a good show. We didn't necessarily know that, but I imagine they were living in fucking hell with millions
yeah.
of dollars.
That was like when we were dealing with all the shit on our show. That was something Robbie kept saying, was like, well, O&A hated each other there at the end. And I was like, Robbie, that was after decades of doing it. That didn't start until like they had already been doing that for fucking years. If we're dealing with this 2 years into this, that's not a good sign. They couldn't keep it going. We damn sure not gonna be able to keep this fucking going if we're already this like resentful of each other.
I think if Robbie joins us, and I'd love to have him. I think he's a great element. I think he brings gold either way, whether it's good or it's not, like it's material. But I think we need to have him make a decision. He can't do this foot in, foot out shit where like he's kind of a player hater, but he's kind of still in the business. It's like, bro, you got to join the player haters and just start making hateful tweets about everybody you know. That's what we need to get him to do. We need to get him to quit stand up and start quote tweeting Chrissy Mayer's tweets. And I think
start
we'll
quote tweeting Chrissy Mayer with pictures of horses.
And that would
by
be
the way, she's aware of this. Like, because when I met her, she knew exactly who I was and what I had been saying about her. Because she was like, "Oh, are you the guy? Have you been like making jokes about me?" And I was like,
yeah, the only guy.
Yeah, but I was like, I was going hard on the horse jokes. Like we just kept taking jabs at her, looking like a horse.
I'm
Man,
just joking about how unfunny and what a transparent grifter she is. So
sure,
maybe that's not as bad as the horse thing. Maybe that
yeah.
hurts your feelings more. I don't know.
No, I think she enjoys being a grifter. It seems like she's leaning into it. Like I
Yeah,
saw something
that's
she posted that she's like part of some awards show called the Grifties. So like she seems to possess like some level of awareness. I don't know how you like that's the thing about like all these like grifting is like as long as you're just like honest about it, I don't really have an issue with it. It's the guys who like try to come across like they actually give a shit. Like I don't. It's so strange to me. Like that's my main gripe with all these fucking dudes, like Shapiro and Matt Walsh and all of them. Crowder is like, well, this is so transparent, and like, what bothers me about it is like the fact that you're unwilling to admit that you're grifting, which I guess that ruins the game if they do, but I don't know. That's the
the thing
thing.
that I don't respect about it is like I don't respect any there's a lot of grifts that I do respect. But the political grift I just can't respect because it's like of course people are going to be upset if you're talking about trans rights and abortion and all of these issues. I think it's much more noble and funny to get people upset when I say Carlos Mencia is a better comedian than Joe Rogan.
That
To
is
have people
funny,
upset about something so fucking trivial, that's really an art. Getting
and
people upset about abortion is fucking easy. You could
you're
go to the
not.
grocery store and do it.
You're not wrong.
No. I mean, if you you told me I had to watch a special from one of the two, I'm picking Carlos every time.
I'm going Carlos all day, every day, dude. D to D. I mean, it's part of my show. D to D.
I mean, it's hilarious. I want to
Yeah,
get we need to get some DDD t-shirts.
yeah.
I would rock the fuck out of
Dude,
that.
that's a good idea. Do D to D merch and be like, well, hey, I mean, if he can steal, why can't I?
That's the beauty of anything you steal from Mencia is
Mm-hmm.
that what the fuck is he gonna say?
Yeah, what's he gonna do? I will say that like I always thought that the crusade that Rogan led against him about joke thievery. I always thought that was so fucking lame. It's so gay. Like who cares?
Well,
I
I imagine he certainly wasn't the only one. Here's some issues I have with it. If I'm gonna be real and break the wall down, it's fucked up that Mencia was stealing. But some of the things that bothered me is you kind of scapegoated this guy. He's definitely not the only person stealing out of all you LA fucking phonies. And one of the ones they used as evidence was the Mexican wall bit saying that Ari had that. And it's like, dude, every fucking hack comedian had this bit.
yeah yeah I it just seems like this misguided attempt at like what you really like what it seems like is like what you really want to do is actually fight in a real war, but you don't have anywhere to like put that energy. So it's like I'm gonna go on this like noble crusade against this like dipshit comedian, and it just comes across. It always came across to me as like very try hard because it's like somebody's work will speak for itself. Like he'll fail on his own if that's the case. Like you don't need to like make this big like stink about it. I don't know, something about it just always came across like very like hokey to me. Like it's just silly.
But then again, Dalton, we can't be complete hypocrites because I gotta say, Rogan was probably the player hater of the year in that circumstance.
Yeah, that's true.
And there was an art to his player hating because if it would have been $100 million Spotify Rogan, he wouldn't give a fuck. He'd be like, shit, you can steal my shit. I don't care. I'm rich,
Yeah.
baby. I'm rich, biatch. But fucking, but he made it this thing where he ate weed lollipops and drank Red Bull and got obsessed with it to the point where he had like cork boards of fucking Mencia and his father in his
Oh,
fucking room.
like
Like,
McConaughey in True Detective.
yeah,
It just
Carcosa,
yeah, it just
Carlosa.
said yeah, D to D, Carcosa, the Brown King. Um, was the chat saying? David Lucas steals all the time.
Oh, from
Does he?
Twitter. Yeah.
Oh, I don't watch any of those fucking people. Like, I've seen him on Kill Tony clips here and there. I never thought he was particularly gifted. So
I
whatever.
never thought anything he said was funny. I thought in the beginning that him and Tony roasting each other, I thought he had some good roasts off the cuff, but that became very played out after a few times that they did it because they just
Yeah,
repeat the same shit.
I don't know if any of Tony's bitch boys I have ever thought were like particularly gifted or funny.
William
Um,
Montgomery sometimes makes he. Here's the thing about a lot of those guys, and even about Rogan. Uh, they're not as funny as they are entertaining. Like it's almost like you're kind of watching a train wreck with William Montgomery, and with Rogan, everything that he says, like in his specials, you sit there and you're like, "Oh, that's deep." Like that's true, but you don't laugh. Like it's not funny. It's just a
yeah,
spectacle.
yeah. What did podcast will say? You probably wouldn't be here now if it wasn't for Rogan, just like most people. I mean, I'd concede to that. Yeah. I mean,
If it wasn't Rogan, it would have been somebody else. What the fuck are you talking about? I hate when people say that shit.
yeah,
Like
but
if it
like
wasn't for if Rogan didn't invent podcasting, fucking O&A was doing his shit. Listen to Rogan. He stole it from O&A. O&A
sure.
invented guys walk in the room and then we just bullshit. We throw the
I think,
topic
yeah,
into the air. Like
Rogan did have the gumption to just like start doing it and keep doing it the way he did it. And his show now is kind of a husk of what it used to be. But I used to listen to it all the time. I thought it was like very entertaining, and now it's now I can't really watch it. But
I don't
I mean,
necessarily have anything against him. I just don't think I think he's privileged to be in his position, but I don't think he's necessarily an egomaniac. I think he understands that he's lucky, but to say that he's this arbiter of comedy is fucking ridiculous. He's just the guy in the position. If it wasn't him, it'd be somebody else.
yeah, he's the top dog. He's the top G. Um, triggered. Strange times triggered. Would I go on Rogan? Of course. Who would turn that
Nah,
down? I mean,
me.
you would.
If Rogan hits me up tonight, I'm hitting him with the hard decline. Posting screenshots.
Nah, I'm
Look
getting
at
the
this little
bag,
bald
dude.
fucking monkey tried to make me sell out. Fuck this
I'm
guy.
getting the bag, dude. I'd go on there. I
I'm here for
would.
the chat and the fans.
I
Fuck,
mean
fuck
that
Rogan.
too, but I think the chat would be stoked if we got to go on Rogan, which is never gonna fucking happen. But
If
if it,
me and you, if he asked me and you, okay, if he asked me, I'd go, one thing, Joe. We're not going to talk about any of this fucking news and aliens bullshit. That's first off. We're going to talk about whatever the fuck we think of. Tell Jamie to stay home. We don't
yeah,
need to bring
Donkey
up the fucking
Kong,
internet. And I'm bringing my friend Dalton. And if the chat allows it, I'm bringing my friend Robbie. And then we have a fucking show. But I'm not doing it by
yeah.
myself.
But back in those days, I listened to. It's funny, time really is a flat circle. Everything. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Because back in those days, I think I listened to Marin more than I did Rogan, and it's funny now. Like Marin seems to really have a stick up his ass about these guys now.
The
Have you,
funniest thing about the Rogan, which it's a one-sided beef, because Rogan is smart enough to say, I have all the money in the world. Why the fuck would I care about this guy? But the funniest thing about the beef is they're essentially the same guy. Like
Rogan and Marin?
they were just a guy that was there at the beginning of podcasting and were able to grab up an audience. There's
Yeah.
nothing necessary like, and neither of them have any sort of like comedic message really, as far as
Yeah,
I can see.
it sort of reminds me. It's like Tucker Carlson versus Rachel Maddow. It's like two sides of the same coin there. Rogan
Yeah.
and Marin. Like Marin is the Maddow to Rogan's Carlson. If that, I think that analogy holds up. That holds water. Because what the fuck? Marin is like the leftist artsy fartsy, seemingly artsy fartsy one. And Rogan is just pure dude, tries to be a dude. And I've seen lately Marin's like kind of been going on a bit of this war path, talking shit about arena acts and shitty Netflix specials and stuff. Like stuff I agree with, but it's like clearly you're still trying to play the game a little bit there, Marion, because you ain't naming names.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. If you're gonna say it, name the fucking name. Put your balls on the fucking table.
Put them balls up on the table, them big old Jewish balls.
Show me what you're working with.
Show me what you're working with, bitch. But
exactly.
he's been part of that industry, been part of it for too long. He probably forgot how to actually be petty and hateful in the right way, like us.
God, yeah, and that's sad because like when I think about getting rich, which it's only a matter of days,
It's a matter of
but
days.
it will inevitably happen, and then I just hope I don't forget how to hate things so much. It's like it's my passion. I think
I love hating things, yeah. But I mean, it would be nice. Like it's fun to hate things now. If I have to trade that for comfort and stability and money, I'm fine with that.
Do you think 10 years down the road, me and you are out in Vegas gambling in suits trying to sell some poor Crowders? You think that's our future?
Maybe worse ways to live. I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing about like those guys like Segura and Kreischer is like what they're doing is fucking corny and just sucks. But do I want that life? Yes.
What about Jesus Kreischer?
That'd be cool. He just
See, this is why we need Robbie, because Robbie would figure something out.
Keep him up on the cross because he's too fucking fat. The cross keeps bowing and breaking, and he just keeps falling face first into the dirt.
He's on the cross telling the machine story. People start killing themselves.
Yeah. He just refuses to die because he's got to tell this story one more time. But I mean, yeah, like the thing is like whenever I see these guys' lives, it's like, is this what I want to do creatively? No. But do I want this life rather than the life I'm living now? Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah, would I trade my life now for that of Bert Kreischer's or Tom Segura's? Yeah. Yeah, of course.
And that's why I don't feel bad about hating on them. They'll be okay. They'll be just fine.
They'll be fine. Yeah.
I might not be fine. Like tonight, something might fucking I might overdraw my credit card, forget about a bill. Like I might be fucked tonight and not even realize.
Don't even worry about that. You like if it's a credit card, you ain't gotta pay that. 7 years, Bible rules. 7 years it drops off. That's what the Bible says about usury.
I don't know, man. I see us like 10 years from now. Me, you, and Robbie are all on opposite sides of the country in our own mansions, doing our own shows from our house. Legion of Skanks, Rogan, all this stuff has gone away. They're boomers, they're old, they're cringe, they're gone. We're the new frontier, and we don't even have to leave the fucking house. We just
you don't have to go fucking anywhere anymore. Stand up is such an antiquated art form, and I love it to death, but it's also wildly inconvenient. It's like for the person doing it, for the people going to see it, it is a pain in the ass to do stand up and to even go watch it.
We got to figure out how to, because people aren't going to movie theaters much anymore, right? So maybe we turn the movie theater screen into like a YouTube screen and just sell tickets for people to come watch us do the Zoom podcast.
Well, I mean, that's what these kind of are, is like, this is like the new frontier. People are still trying to, solve this puzzle. It's weird that the people who got really good at this, who succeeded at it, are also like the biggest fucking bunch of weirdos I've ever seen. Like the despicable people, like that, like Vosh, like that guy who, do you know that story? You know what's going on with him right now?
Rich Vosh?
Rich Vosh.
No, who are you talking about? Streamers?
He's a streamer. He's a big time streamer. He's like up there in terms of popularity with like Destiny and Keemstar and all these guys. He was on a stream and like somehow his porn folder was shown on stream.
Oh, it's
and it was like some weird shit. It was like lolicon horse.
Like a horse was fucking a boy or something?
Something like that. And he's been like, trying to defend himself since then. and he just keeps digging like a deeper and deeper hole. Like the more he talks, the more he's exposing how fucking weird he is. But that's like that seems to be the norm with all these fucking dudes. Like all these streamers just seem to be like the strangest, most like perverted fucking weirdos I've ever seen. That guy that just died, Too Mad.
Yeah,
Like all
that
these
was
stories
weird
that are
shit.
coming out about that dude, and like people on Twitter have said it. Like, what the fuck is going on with YouTubers? Like, why are these people all so fucking weird?
Yeah, there was another guy just like months ago before that too, who
Yeah,
like killed himself.
yeah. It's like in fact, the only normal one I've seen so far, the only one who I'm like, of everything I've seen him do, just seems like a regular dude, and he makes the weirdest shit is Meat Canyon.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like
he
he's
seems pretty down to earth.
yeah, like out of all of them, he seems like the one who, he's making the strangest content. I love it. It's my favorite. But then like you see him talk and he's like, "Yo, I love Coke Zero." He's like a normal dude.
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing I like about him is he seems to have a certain awareness about himself where he doesn't come on and he's like, "Well, what I was thinking when I animated these characters would like he's not too self-important. He understands kind of what he's doing is like he understands what it is and what purpose it serves, you
Yeah,
know.
I saw him when he was getting some heat for this Taylor Swift cartoon he made. He did this video about it where he's like, "Look, this is how I make my money. I make garbage for the internet. Pay me. I mean, here's your slop." And it's like, okay, that's my favorite kind of guy who at least realizes what he's doing is stupid. Because this is all very ridiculous. I mean, like every level of the entertainment industry is really fucking dumb. Even
Yeah.
even the stuff that's like achieving the level of art is like, man, this is still just stupid. you know, even something at a level of like Oppenheimer, I still can see through that and go, man, just a bunch of motherfuckers playing pretend, really stupid shit. Yay.
Yep.
Playing dress up, yay. But it's it's the most respected thing on the planet. These people make tons and tons of money just playing dress up, having a good time with each other. What's going on with that? I guess I need to go see that Madam Web movie.
Oh, I don't know about her, but well we can talk about her, but it reminded me of fucking Zendaya, the Dune, her costume.
Oh yeah, did you see the controversy about that?
I don't know what the controversy was. I saw
So,
it.
so that outfit she was wearing, she was also accessorized. She had like a bunch of diamonds, and like come to find out, those were like Congolese blood diamonds. And
Oh,
it's got some people up in a tizzy because I think what they've like discovered with diamonds over the last several years, like we've known this for a while, is that there's no really any difference between a lab made diamond and a blood diamond, like diamonds you would dig out of the earth, like in terms of just the characteristics of diamonds, like whatever they are, they're exactly the same thing. And so this like continued effort to excavate these blood diamonds and like the amount of human suffering involved in that is completely unnecessary at this point. So there's like a lot of activism to like try and get that to stop happening, to be like, hey, if you want diamonds, just get the ones in the lab so people don't have to get their like lose their lives digging for these things. Like people have said, like it seems really sick that what's making this valuable for you is the fact that somebody suffered to get it, because that's the only difference.
well, that's a fair point and a fair argument, but I would wager to guess that everybody at that event had a cell phone on them that a fucking Asian child had to make in some sort of metal mine.
Sure.
You
Yeah.
know, so
Yeah.
people just pick and choose what they get upset
Yeah.
about. It's
But
all human suffering.
the I guess the argument could be made with a cell phone is that at this point, a smartphone for everybody is a
Is
necessity.
necessary. Yeah,
Whereas diamonds, nobody needs ever. It's just, shiny. It's fun to have. So it's
true.
like if you are going to have diamonds, the argument is that like just get the ones made in a lab. There's no reason for them to be Congolese blood diamonds.
I'll tell you one thing, I was hard as a diamond when I saw it.
When you saw
That
her in
that outfit, yeah.
that robot suit she was wearing.
I wanted to find a way to tweet a thought that I had, which was, and I couldn't figure out how to make this funny, Because maybe it wasn't funny. Maybe I was really thought this, but like, I would love to know if there's some kind of like vacuum attachment for like a gas mask you could put on the back of that and just like smell her ass sweat. I think that would be
Dog.
pretty nice.
The good stank. Yes. The good
Yeah.
stank.
Never. That one stayed in the drafts though.
I tweeted something in that same vein last night where I was like, I can't stop thinking about Dakota Johnson peeling off that Madam Web costume after a 14-hour workday, getting a whiff of the good stank.
That's one thing that I am into in real life, for sure.
The good stank. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah,
I understand the good stank. Yes.
yeah, that's
I
good stuff.
yeah, it's you can't be overboard. Like a bitch does need to shower every now and then, but there is like after a nice like brisk jog,
Yeah,
I get yeah.
that's the
Mhm.
thing. It has to be sweat from like either like running around the house doing chores or like jogging or exercising. It can't just be you haven't showered in 4 days and you've been
Mhm.
just sitting around watching TV.
Yeah,
That's probably not a good stink.
it's either like after a workout or like in the morning, like more like just the morning stank, like it's a very like light, sort of aroma. If it's just like if it's depression, like no shower depression stank, no, that's no, I'm not into that. But I told
Yeah. I have to
um,
address something in the chat real quick. C-Dump says, did Tank die? No Profits is so fun. I miss it. Tank did not die. Tank is alive and well. Dalton, you probably don't know, but Tank is my boy who lives here in North Carolina with me. And we do a podcast strictly for Patreon from time to time. But the thing about Tank is he's a real life dude. He works a good paying job and a good job that takes a lot of his hours out of the week. And he's got all kinds of responsibilities. So he's not so much like a me and Dalton where we're just sitting around waiting for somebody to fucking talk to us and interact with us and some
yeah,
kind of content to make. We're content demons. Tank is a
my
real
day
guy.
job is
So.
doing mostly nothing, so I got a lot of time on my hands. That's why I tweet so much because it's like I'm at work doing nothing. I can make money shit posting, a couple
Yeah.
revenue
But
streams going.
no profits will always be around. We'll always make an episode when we get a chance. But it's one of those that's going to be here and there because he's got a whole life. So but
Speaking of
that's
Patreon, everybody should subscribe to our Patreon, my Patreon, patreon.com/cornfed with Dalton Pruitt. That's where all the premium episodes are for the show, all the bonus content. We got a $5 tier, $10, $15 tier, and then the $25 tier gets you the Fraternal Order of Corn-Fed decal, which you get after 3 months. So it is $75 for a sticker. That's Patreon. And if you are subscribed to that tier, I got a few people that did subscribe 3 months ago. The decals are going out. If they haven't shipped already, they should have. I don't know. But I did get a notification that they are going out. So patreon.com/cornfed with Dalton Pruitt. Crack, what's your Patreon?
my Patreon is patreon.com/crackamico, CRACKAMICO. If you go there, I do streams typically every week. I do a free stream for everybody. And then if you pay $1, you can come into the Patreon. We continue the stream there. If you want to pay $5, that's where you get to see all my old cringy songs that I bear to the world. Bust my balls if you feel. You paid your money, you can do that. And you can even join the final tier, which I believe I just made $50 because nobody's buying it. But if you pay $50, I'll mention your name in one of my funky rap jams. So that's bang for your buck right there. Patreon.com/crackamico. And go if you're here, you're probably subscribed, but I'm getting towards 10K subscribers on YouTube. So guys, help out the cause. The bigger and more powerful we get here, the more we can really affect the lives of your most hated comedians. So please keep supporting and thank you for your time.
Yeah. There's this lady I follow on Twitter who is like, she's cute, but I guess she even says she's mid. And she's like, she's not a thought or any, like, I don't know. She's not trying to post like thirst traps necessarily, but I can tell she wants to dabble. And every now and then, this is like my favorite kind of thirst posting is like a woman who clearly doesn't really want to be doing it, but also wants the attention, is looking for love. And so like every now and then she'll post something that really gets me going. It's is the fact that this is coming from a place of desperation is what makes it hot to me. She posted a picture of her wearing this like lacy little skimpy getup, and she's got kind of a not a dumpy chubby body, but she's a little flabby here and there, which is that's in my zone, dude. So I'm I was looking at that just now. She's cool though. She and I'm not gonna name who this is, but she and I have like interacted on it. She's funny. We riff bits together every now and then, and I ask her to post more pictures of her feet. Anyway,
sorry, I was trying to put my link in the chat for the Patreon. I think I did it wrong. I never know in the HTTPS if the slashes come first or the thing.
It's HTTPS://
Okay, I did it right. It's just not. I don't think links work in this chat, but whatever. It was an idea by someone in the chat. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I saw the one that you were talking about. You jerked off to the feet on Valentine's Day.
You found that lady?
That was a very nice picture.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about, dude. That woman, she looks cute and she seems like very fun. I've never like interacted with her personally, just like here and there on Twitter. Like we've interacted in comment sections and tweets, but like every now and then she'll post something that's like kind of provocative, and like something about it coming from a woman like that I'm like, I like this more than whores. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's so funny. You know the foot picture I'm talking about, because like she posted that, and like immediately when I saw that, I was like, whoa, nice, dude. That's a good set of dirty feet right there.
Yeah, and that is if I could receive any sort of, I know she's not nude in the picture, doesn't really matter, but I'm gonna call it a nude. My favorite position to see a nude of a woman is that sitting down, showing your butt with your feet coming out underneath. That's just like, that's written into our DNA somewhere.
Yeah, that picture fucking unlocked something in me. I don't know what it was, but there was something about those dykey pants she had on and the dirty feet and the sort of like dumpy ass. I was like, yo, this all coming together for me on this one. I'm saving that into the phone for sure. This is good. This is going to get back to. She's gonna find out that what I've been like, me talking like this. Because if you were able to piece it together who this is, then I'm sure at some point she'll figure it out.
I'm a BPN soldier though. I listen to your content. I don't know if she's that into the.
Well, I've also just been like criminally horny in her comments before. She posted something the other day, and I just was like, I went in the comments, I was like, post more feet. And then there was like something else she posted. It was like some joke thing where she's like, my apartment is having a fattest ass competition or something for 10% off rent. It was like a joke thing. And I commented like, hey, I'm actually having a stinkiest feet competition if you want to compete. And she actually like quote tweeted it and was like, I'm about to get a major W on this one. So I guess she's aware of something.
Well, I mean, she knows what she's doing to some degree when she posts those.
They all do. I don't like, dude. There have been like a few women here and there that have been uncomfortable with like the shit that I've like said or the titty videos or like whatever it may be, and I'm like, you can't commodify your body in this way and then act all like prudish about what people are going to say to you. It's like you made the conscious decision to like be provocative like this. You can't then be like, you can't have everything. It's like, if you're going to post titty pictures, get ready for some weird comments. That's going to happen. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And there's something like you said, almost more attractive about like the ones where it's like you can tell they're on the line of kind of want to doing it. Like they kind of want to do it, but they kind of don't. And also they have a sense of humor. So it's like part of my following is because I'm funny. The other part is because I might take my pants off one day.
Yeah,
It's something that you want to, you know, it's something you want to stick around and watch, see what happens, just in case one day she comes on there in a fucking thong doing the dirty foot pose.
yeah. Well,
You
I
want to
get
see
like you
that.
can always tell like the kind of women who are unabashed in like posting thirst traps, and they're doing it for attention and money, and it's like their business. Like this is how they get followers. This is how they make money. This is like they they live to show people their titties, or post suggestive photos. And then there's other women like this where it's like, oh, I don't know if she necessarily wants to be posting horny pictures, but she's definitely like dipping her toe in the water to see if it gets her the attention she's looking for, which ultimately is the love and affection of a good man, which she will find not on Twitter. She's going about it the wrong way.
Yeah.
Podcastable said like 90% of female comics. That's the craziest one, is like the amount of women in comedy who think part of being a comedian is posting thirst traps. Like I've seen that for years now. Like female comedy, like women in comedy, they're also like trying to be professionally hot, and it's like, pick a fucking lane.
That's the tough part. It's like because it's like what does one serve the other? You know, it's kind of like you either choose one or the other, and if you're gonna do one or the other, maybe devote all of your time to that. Because staying in these two different lanes is almost kind of like you're gonna be mediocre in both. You know?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because like if you want to be respected as a comedian, you're not going to go full. You're not going to show all your holes. You're not going to go full nude. Usually, I mean, Karen Feehan seems to have had no issues doing it. But for the most part, there's like a lot of these women will just post like suggestive photos. But that's also not what they want to be. They want to be respected as comics, but they're also bad at that. So they're bad at being whores and they're bad at being funny, and it's just kind of the worst of both worlds. It's the obnoxious plea for attention of a whore, and a similar obnoxiousness of a fucking comedian, and nothing's working then,
And
and they're not.
it's the woman's dilemma, so to speak, to have an option where yes, maybe you can show your privates, make a little more money, and maybe even get a little more attention. But maybe if that option wasn't there, you just got to put your head down and get really good at comedy, which is ultimately maybe what you want. So it's really a dilemma.
Yeah, and the thing is, none of them have ever actually had to get good at it, because they've had opportunities thrown at them because people want to fuck them. They're fuckable, and they possess like the bare minimum communication skills to do stand up and podcasting, that combine like an elementary school level of speaking ability with big fat tits and ass, and you can succeed as a woman. You really go far. Um, is that to say that women are not funny? No, ugly women are funny.
I think per capita, they're certainly less funny than dudes, but I mean there are it's kind of like the WNBA argument. Like, of course, the best of the women compared to the best of the men win 1,000 times in a row every time. But there are some motherfuckers like me playing against the WNBA. Those bitches will fuck me up. I
Yeah,
guarantee it. I have no basketball skill. I'm not better just because I'm a man. They're bigger than me.
yeah.
So I'm sure just in that way, the funniest of the funniest women are not funnier than the funniest men, but like there's definitely some dudes out there that just are just disgustingly unfunny.
Oh yeah. Most people are not that funny. Even the people that have succeeded. They're not that funny.
I would argue though that a person who has decided that they have no sense of humor is almost better than a dude who he's clinging desperately at funny and will never reach it, and everyone around him realizes that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's a tough place to be.
That's a tough place to be. But sometimes you get in too deep. You just can't leave. He's like, because what else am I gonna do with my time? Warhammer? Which would be a better use of time for most. That's my goal, is like to get success. I've said this. I want to get successful enough that I can really dive into Warhammer 40K. Just not there yet. What did Lucas say? I would rather watch Jeff Dunham preform than Kim Contain. I know what you were trying to type. You failed in expressing what you wanted to say, but I was able to decipher it. You would rather watch Jeff Dunham perform than Kim Congdon. Honestly, yes.
I'd rather watch Kim Congdon because at least there's some spank bank ability there.
There is some spank bank ability, but you think
Dunham is just infuriating.
You think anything she's doing is as funny as Ahmed the Dead Terrorist?
I think that stuff probably holds up better in your mind than you realize.
Maybe.
We got to do a watch along to fucking Jeff Dunham.
Dude, I remember really thinking Ahmed the Dead Terrorist was the funniest thing ever. Yes.
Oh, I wasn't missing a fucking Jeff Dunham special when I was in like middle school, but I'm a different man. I've done a lot of drugs, fucked a lot of bitches.
Walter, Ahmed the Dead Terrorist, the black one, the pimp puppet that he had. Jose the Jalapeno. I mean,
that one is terrible.
That was bad.
That one's bad.
It's such a classic cast of characters.
The punchline for the jalapeno was him saying "on a steak."
On a steak.
That was the punchline. Larry the Cable Guy is like fucking Michelangelo compared to Jeff Dunham.
I love Larry the Cable Guy.
He's funny.
I love
Larry the Cable Guy is funny. Go watch YouTube, Larry the Cable Guy. He's funny. I don't care who you are. It's funny right there.
I don't care who you are. That's funny right there. C-Dumps is mad because we're talking shit about Kim Congdon.
No, this is why we have these conversations, C-Dumps. We don't necessarily have an opinion going in. We're kind of working through it. We're working through
our thoughts.
She's not
Kim Congdon funnier than Jeff Dunham?
She's not part of our jihad.
I like honestly, yeah, Kim is not.
But she's not safe from criticism either.
Kim is not targeted. I like Kim, and she stuck up for me when I was going through it. Like I remember like there was some episode of Skane she was on when Lewis had like mentioned what was happening with me, and she kind of like shut it down. She made an effort to be like, hey, maybe don't. This seems like it's real what's happening, so maybe just don't like talk about this right now. So I don't want to talk shit about Kim. She's like very nice and made an effort to like protect me, when I was in the crosshairs of the internet. Very vulnerable time.
Kim rules. I've met her. I made a song featuring her, which she loved. So we've kind of had a relationship since then. And I mean, if you're being honest about it, when you look at Kim, you're not judging somebody who's been doing comedy for 20 years. She's in her 30s. She's still pretty new at it. She got some success from Kill Tony, and I think just being hot. So maybe a little light is shined on her that shouldn't.
I will say,
but I think she's funny, and I think she's developing into a good comedian.
The podcast cringe video essay about the shit show of her and Sarah on Rogan was good. I did enjoy watching that guy talk shit about them.
Oh, and I mean, I enjoy, dude. I'm friends with a good amount of people that Red Bar talks shit about. And it's almost funnier. Like,
the
fact that I know him, because I'm kind of cringing. I'm like, oh, come on, man. Like, take it easy on him. But like, it's like, dude, it's still funny. Like, funny's funny. And it's the whole thing about comedy. We're not all auto mechanics. Like, we're trying to be funny. So,
I mean, at the end of the day, I've always thought of it like nobody's really who's doing this is providing anything for anybody. It's a very selfish endeavor. And if you're good at it, you bring joy and smiles to so many. But it's a luxury sort of thing to even be able to do or consume, and it doesn't like provide for any like the community or the world in any tangible way other than it's entertainment. So like more than anything, people just should not take themselves too seriously. Is like my
Yeah.
whole thing is like, yeah, I mean, people are going to talk shit about you. They're going to make fun of you and criticize what you do, and it's like you deserve it. Like you absolutely deserve this to be happening because what you're doing is stupid. And I can see that in myself. Like every time I do anything like this or do a podcast, like whatever, is like, man, this is unbelievably fucking dumb. But it also is how you make money now because AI took all the jobs.
Yeah. And I don't know. I feel like I can't take myself seriously because I just I rip on everybody and I rip on the industry and how it is. And in order to be a person that does that, which first of all, like I'm sure a lot of people don't even see the shit that I'm doing. Like I know I'm not very well known, but
You got a shout out from Tim Dillon. That's cool.
yeah, which never would have happened if they didn't play me in 5 feet in front of his face. But it is cool. You know, I've never with Tim Dillon, I've never heard his stand up. I don't know if he's good at stand up, but I think
He's very good at stand up. It's frustrating because he seems like such a soulless person. He seems very like what's the word? Ruthless in his like the way he conducts himself in business and like everything. He seems very like it feels like like what it is, which is a realtor became a comedian. But
yeah.
I've seen him do stand up. He's very good at it. He's
Well, that's
very
cool.
talented.
That's cool. I wasn't sure because what I know him from is podcasts, and I feel like he's one of those guys, at least in like he's funny with other people around, but in a like solo avenue, he's one of the best. Like he's very good. He's very enthralling. He almost has like a quality of like one of those older like radio guys who would just rant and rant for hours, but also like you said, he's very smart, and I feel like he's just out for what he wants. Like I feel like when he goes in the when he went in the Rogan studio, when Rogan started having him on, I feel like it was when the Wolf of Wall Street went into the penny stock office and was
Yeah,
like, "Oh, I see what's going on in
that
here.
is the
Joe,
most
shut the fuck up.
impressive.
I'm gonna run."
That is the most impressive thing about Tim is he. It seems like even when he wasn't successful, he just always acted that way. he
Yeah,
he just was always a diva and was just ready for any moment or opportunity. It was like there for the occasion and just always acted like he was the like top dog, like the shit. And he truly faked it till he made it because like I think when it wasn't too long ago that he was like like not just broke but like hundreds of thousands of dollars in the hole. He was fucked.
yeah, yeah. I
So
got a lot of respect for him. I just
yeah,
I'm weary as you know, people are considering me a hater and a critic. I'm weary about like giving people a cosign if I haven't seen their stand up because that's usually the worst thing they do.
I've seen Tim live. The special was not that good. The recording was like whatever. I've seen him live. He's very fucking good at it. He's like, you know, he does an hour and it feels like he just started. Like by the end of it, you're like, damn, is that it? You know, it's one of those like,
Yeah, that happens where the special doesn't translate because I feel like I've maybe seen at least a couple minutes of him live, and from everybody that I respect telling me like uh I've heard that like Sam Talent is a really good stand up, but I thought his special was just not good.
now we're talking shit about
I
Sam.
didn't make like a stink about it or anything cuz I know
Nobody talks shit about Sam. He wrote a book.
oh yeah, he's an author.
Sam is the real deal. I haven't seen the special, but he's a fucking like stand up dude. Like he's super nice and just like a solid fucking guy. And does that translate to being funny? Not all the time, but he is actually very funny.
I've heard that like he's actually very good at stand up specifically. I just the
Yes,
special it just felt like the special didn't translate that message, you know.
that happens. I mean, I don't get it, but it's hard to capture, what's actually happening in the room. Like live comedy it's a fickle beast. you know.
I think you should
Speak.
have to be over 40 to make a stand up special
I honestly, I agree with that. I completely fucking agree with that. You should have to be at least 40 years old to
or
do.
have been doing comedy for 15 years. I'd
Yeah.
almost say 10 is too soon.
What I'm really impressed by? I remember when I first started seeing him in open mics, because he's a Dallas guy, is Ralph Barbosa. He started after me. Not that I was headed for any success. Looking back on things, I was headed for destruction. But I remember seeing him start doing open mics, and then I moved and was caught up in my own shit, and then just looked at my phone one day, and I was like, "Huh, Ralph's famous." I didn't see that happening. Yeah, he just did his first Netflix special. But he's very good. Like he's like one of those guys who just has like an innate ability for it.
Yeah,
And he
he's
was
very in the pocket on stage. He seems like he's very comfortable, calm,
he's
just taking it at his own speed.
yeah, his career track is interesting because like he's only, as far as I know, only really focused on stand up, and any podcast that he's been on is just like come after his success. So like he got known from doing stand up, and then did the podcast circuit because probably like some talent agency or somebody made him, or I don't know.
Well, didn't I think he blew up when George Lopez was player hating on him.
Yeah, George Lopez did hate on him for no reason. Mexicans hate each other. They do that all the time. They'll immigrate to the United States and then get jobs as border patrol. There is no loyalty among. They don't fucking like each other.
Yeah, it's true. A lot of the
Um,
Mexican gangs, they're killing other Mexicans.
mm-hmm.
It's their own people.
Yep, it's brown on brown crime out there. Yeah, but Ralph is cool. There's a lot of cool guys out there. I still think the funniest people of all time will die alone and penniless, and no one will ever know who they were.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're probably the craziest, and they're probably so focused on being funny or entertaining whatever sect of shit that they're doing that they can't get any sort of organization in their life where
Yeah,
they even perform publicly.
the funniest people I've ever met just can't stop getting in their own way, and just have like too many screws loose that they just can't. They figured out, it's like this just uncontrolled energy where it's they're the funniest people, but there's no containing who they are, so they just can't figure out the business side of it. So they're like, mostly homeless because they're so fucking just fucked up. Um, but
Yeah, I
that's
have a
that's
hard
life.
time. I have such a hard time with like now that I've like met people, and I've always been mean, but I haven't always been mean to pretty much everybody, which I seem to be kind of doing lately, like whoever I feel like deserves it. But it's tough when you meet people and I, I don't even know how to say it, but like for example, I met Josh Adam Myers and Justin Silver, great guys. But it's like if somebody put me on the fucking spot and was like, "Are these guys comedic geniuses?" Like, if I was on a lie
I
detector, that might not go the way I
I'm
want
gonna
it
be
to.
honest. I've never seen Josh or Justin do stand up, and my interactions with Josh were always very positive. I have nothing bad to say about that guy. He was very nice to me. He took me to a concert, and he was always like just a really solid dude. It seemed like, and and he's been through a lot of like he's been through the shit. So I don't, I don't really want to. He's not somebody I would ever like hate on, but I've never seen his stand up either.
There are just those guys like that who I mean, They're probably decent at what they do, right? And probably still getting better. But there's just those guys where it's like they're not the best, but they're like nice guys and they're not predatory. It's kind of like Tom Myers. Like Tom Myers is not the best comedian, but he doesn't seem predatory and like
Tom
douche
Myers
people off
might be the
and
best comedian. It might be this like he doesn't know it, and it's but what makes him great is his lack of self-awareness. Like the funny is the fact that like he just doesn't understand why he's funny, like what it is about him that is so endearing. And so I see a bright future for Tom. And he just turned 40, so he's eligible for a special now.
he just turned 40.
I think he's 40, yeah.
Jesus Christ, that hairline is not doing him any
The
fucking favors.
hairline is he's such an old soul. I still think about like when we had him on the show. I love Tom. Like I have nothing bad to say about Tom.
I
I
love
have
his
more
energy.
I have more bad things to say about Nick for like targeting Tom. Like knowing Tom now and the fucking hate campaign that Cumtown led against Tom. I'm like, why did you guys do this to this guy? He's a cool dude. He's not like he's not the best comedian out there. He's kind of hamming it up on stage at times, but there's nothing about this dude that warranted the fucking like public hatred you showed towards this dude.
I get the sentiment of that, but I wouldn't necessarily be mad at Nick because Nick is a seriously like one of the funniest dudes I think out right now. But Stav, the fact that Stav had the balls to sit there and laugh at Tom Myers when it's like, dude, who the fuck are you?
Sure. I don't know. I'm not. I have no qualms with Nick or anything. It's just like such a bizarre thing to elevate his. I mean, it probably ultimately helped Tom in his career, give it the come town bump. But it's like knowing him and having had conversations with him, I'm like, this is just like a nice guy. He just seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, they jocktobered him
Yeah,
essentially.
they jocked over Tom, and it only helped him. Like people love him now. They've like discovered this like this oddity in Baltimore. Like, well, who is this?
And to tell you the truth, I'm kind of happy that he's not selling like bong hit transplant t-shirts and shit. Like
I tried to get him to. I was like, yo, dude,
I mean, it's a
make some
smart thing for
shirt.
the money, but he's essentially bending the knee at that point. And I like the fact that Tom Myers every once in a while fucking throw out a Nick Mullen barb.
Yeah,
He's still in the fight, you know.
yeah, but he did. That's what I was gonna say. Is he something he said during that interview we did with him that stuck with me? It's just an old man thing. Was we were like, what kind of like, what's your favorite video games to play? You play video games? And he goes, oh, solitaire, chess, checker. Like, God damn, dude, just the shit that comes with Microsoft.
He's a
Just
simple minimalist.
yeah, yeah. I mean, good for him. That's the way. That's the way you should live. Minimal mattress on the floor and a deck of cards.
He's from the old school. Like you said, he's an old soul. That's why I would have assumed that he's older than he looks just because of the fact that he wears a suit on
He
stage.
wears a suit and he does like a style of comedy that's like from 30 years ago.
He
Is a
reminds me of Joker, the Joaquin Phoenix Joker, a little bit.
little bit, yeah, a little bit where it's like what's actually endearing about him is not what he's trying to do. It's just like the overall character of the guy, like who he is as a person, which I don't think he wants. I think he wants people to respect him for his creative output, and it's like, well, we like you for other reasons.
The problem with him too is as soon as he becomes self-aware, that's when he stops being funny because
Yeah,
you can see him start raising his eyebrows like, "Huh? I'm in on the joke now, guys." And we're like, "No, that's why we're laughing is cuz you weren't. You have to keep being not in on
yeah,
the fact that you're dumb."
yeah. You have to not be in on it. That's why it's working. Yeah, Windy City Heat, that sort of thing. Uh,
That you talk about What's more mean spirited, Fish Tank or that movie?
That's a good question, man. Probably Fish Tank, because Windy City Heat is like, that guy at least wants. He's like wants to be a comedian. Like, he's trying to be this thing. Fish Tank, it seems like it's desperate people who like really need money. And Sam is like, all right, I'll give you money if you'll do my challenges. You'll do the most exploitative, embarrassing, shameful thing you'll ever do in your life, is be in this house for however many weeks.
Yeah, and Windy City Heat, you don't know how much of that shit is like movie magic, kind of set up a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
I like to think it's all real, but
Yeah, who knows? You never know with that. I mean, that's the disturbing thing about Fish Tank is like, yeah, this is real. These people are suffering under the under the thumb of Sam Hyde. These people are suffering. Yeah, I can't watch it.
yeah, I think it's about time for it to come to an end. I think they probably shouldn't have even done a second one. I'd say the first was kind of innovative in like a apocalypse now sort of way, like kind of a chaotic end of worlds type feel, but it's not something that you should keep redoing and redoing as your main thing that you're doing. Sam's too funny of a guy for to be focused
yeah,
on that.
yeah. Sam's just too unhinged. I don't know what his deal is. Maybe MDE might have just been a flash in the pan. Maybe that was all they had, because I haven't seen anything that he's done since then that's like made me like that I've like really enjoyed. It's all been, like, when are you gonna ever do anything like this again? And it doesn't seem like he is. But I don't
Yeah.
know. Apparently there's an MDE2 happening.
I think he should keep doing Gutter Man.
He Gutter Man. I mean, yeah, he came out the gate swinging with Gutter Man. I mean, nothing will come close to that.
I'm not a Compound Media subscriber or anything like that, but it does seem that everything hilarious that Sam Hyde has done has been racial to me.
Yeah. Well, and like, but there's some MDE sketches, like the wine party sketch.
Yeah.
That's just the absurdity of really violence against women. Is the joke is just like brutalizing a woman. That's a good one.
His
God,
his aesthetic through that show is so fucking like off-putting. It's like beautiful. Like the way his face looks in that wine party sketch.
yeah, he looks
It's
insane. He's always looked crazy. He's had like the most like disturbing, off-putting. I can't believe that. It's crazy that there's women who've had sex with this guy. It's crazy that there's women who've had sex with me. Yes, I can also see that in myself.
yeah,
Um,
he looks like any picture of like if you pulled up a serial killer.
yeah. Yes, he looks very disturbing, but
I got to
not.
wrap in about 5, by the way.
Yeah, we've been going for dude. We've been going for a long time. Does anybody want to give us more money?
Yeah, this has been a long time, and you know, there's
No, it's
super chats, you know.
good for the algorithm. The
And
algorithm
at the
likes
very
it.
least, smash the like button,
Smash the
guys.
damn like button, like and subscribe. How do
Make the
you
Aldo start whiling.
push the button? When they do this. C
See them.
dumps, $5. What'd she say? Let's show it in the screen. Would you maybe do watch alongs? Discord is easy for those. Also for Robbie. What do we watch? What would we watch? Like movies? Like Madam Web?
We'll watch Robin Williams, and after every line, like a Robin Williams movie, we'll make Robbie do the impression and see who did it better.
Yeah.
It'll be a 17-hour podcast.
I'm not against doing watch alongs. It just has to be the right movie, because like we did that once with Loud Boys, but we watched Goldmember, which was like, well, this movie's already the funniest movie ever. So we just were sitting there like, damn, dude, this is funny. That was like the extent that we,
Yeah, we don't want to turn into Kai eating the chips. We're against those guys. We
yeah.
let our words speak for us. which I'm being a hypocrite because I react to shit all the time. But
sea dumps, that ain't a bad idea. I would do that. The what you say, the Super Mario Brothers movie. We got the '93 with Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo.
Yeah.
That would be Squat. $2 from Squat. Robbie sucks. I would be down. I would be down to do a watch along for the Mario, the Cyberpunk Mario, for sure.
Yeah, I'd be down for that too. And by the way, I just want to say, there's a war waging in the chat, a monetary war going on. But I want to say, it just depends kind of what flavor you guys want. I feel like if it's just me and Dalton, there's going to be some jokes here and there. But me and Dalton are mostly doing like a dossier. Like we're kind of taking things to task and kind of like breaking things down philosophically. Robbie adds like the main comedic element. Like Robbie makes bits out of everything. Robbie does impressions. Like he'll keep the speed of the show. Like I think he might be the cohesion we need.
He might be. He might be the glue we need. Because like I'm sort of the chameleon of it all. Like I kind of match whoever I'm talking to. So it's like with Crack, we're philosophizing, but Robbie's a silly Billy. So that the alchemy of Robbie and Crack together, and then my ability to blend to match those energies might be what we need.
I think it might be good too, because I think me and you probably agree on like 80% of things like what we talk about. For the most part, we agree, and like it's kind of just an echo chamber. Whereas Robbie might disagree with us a little bit. He's got a little more attachment to some of these like industry type things, and he still thinks things are good. We're both like Stan, just seeing everything as shit.
Yeah, because our lives suck. Mine does. Yeah. I think Robbie lives a much more comfortable life. I don't know what he has to complain about, to be honest with you. Like, it's funny that he still has any like complaints about anything, because he seems to live a very sick life. Like he's not big and famous and successful, but I'll click on his like Instagram every now and then, and he's on another first class flight going somewhere, and I'm like, this looks nice. Most people don't get to travel this much.
Yeah, I think he misses the Loud Boys, dude.
I think so. Yeah,
it seems to be like he's very happy to get on here with you, and it kind of seems like the medium where he has the most fun and talks some shit.
I think it was like for all of us, nothing happened for any of us until that show happened. Like we were all just like piddling away and just making no headway with anything. And then that show was like our first, for any of us, our sort of, it seemed like we were finally like latching on and things were going to go well. And, unfortunately, just things happen the way they happen. But, maybe the magic is still there, and he misses it. I have not heard from Joe in 2 years or since everything happened. Like he completely was like done with me at that point. And, whatever. Good. So salute Boy Fortuna. God bless to Joe and his girlfriend. I wish no ill will upon them. And I wish Robbie infinite success for sure.
I love Robbie.
Robbie's a good dude. He's gonna be on the show. So anybody that paid for Robbie to not be on the show, thank you for the money. But
I mean, I can just already picture the greatness of like Squatopotamus being there on a stream, because I do think these should be streams. I think we should be in the fucking Tesla truck, goon goggles century. I think we should be the three of us streaming. But I think it'll just be funny. Like we'll get going on a bit, and then every 5 minutes, Robbie will look at the chat and be like, "Squat, okay, if you fucking hate me, then I guess I'll just leave."
Here's what we can do. We have we bring Robbie into the fold. By the way, the funniest thing would be if he just wants nothing to do with it. That would probably be the funniest outcome.
We've been sitting
But
here talking about it for hours, like asking the chat, like, do you think
yeah, he
we keep Robbie out?
he watches this and he's like, "Why the fuck would I work with you guys? Well, if it's starting out this way, why would I do this?" Rob, John wants to know, have we even talked to Robbie about this? No, not really.
Nah.
We're just brainstorming here.
No, but I feel like it really
Here-
has nothing to do with me, but I feel like Robbie misses Dalton a lot, so
Here's the
he'd probably be
thing.
down to do something with him.
We bring Robbie on to do do live streams regularly, and then you in the chat can pay to get Robbie to stop talking. The more money you pay, you throw a super chat to say, "Robbie, shut up," and then he has to.
$1 for every second that he can't talk.
Yeah, you have to pay to get Robbie to stop talking. It's the perfect grift.
I mean, dude, we might have gotten no super chats tonight if it wasn't for asking people.
Robbie's a moneymaker. Robbie's got it. He's got the goods.
Yeah, I think Robbie's on the fucking show. We just got to figure out the name because the Crowder Boys it bugs me.
The Crowder Boys. It was making me laugh because just the thought of even trying to explain that to anybody was making me laugh. Like, what does this mean? It's like nothing really.
Yeah, it might be brilliant in a way though, because we'll get people to click on the Crowder Boys that disagree with it, and then they'll find out we're funny, and then the people who think we're part of Crowder shit will fucking hate us.
I did think of it this way because like the most famous Crowder these days is obviously Steven Crowder. Craig, right. I don't know what your relationship is with Christian rock music, but when I hear the name Crowder, I still associate there was a Christian rock band that was very popular when I was going to church, that when I hear the name Crowder, I still think of this band more than I do Steven Crowder. And it's a band called the David Crowder Band. And they were at that time, this was what, 15, 16, 17 years ago. They were like a very popular Christian rock band. I remember like we went to this Christian rock festival or something my church did called Acquire the Fire, and they were one of the headlining bands was the David Crowder Band. So if the show is to be the Crowder Boys, that would be my explanation is, we're just fans of the David Crowder Band, the Christian rock group.
Either way, we're Christians.
Either way, we're Christians, yeah. Lee Rector,
you know what's weird?
What?
Sam Hyde just followed me.
Nice.
It's just weird how we've been talking about him, and mostly negative, I think.
Yeah. Berserk in the chat. Feelers. Berserk, it's not Choir the Fire, it's Acquire the Fire. ATF. Acquire the Fire. Yeah, it was like a 2-day Christian rock festival that my church went to. Lee Rector says Crowder Boys is hilarious. I think it's funny, but we don't have to go.
Here's what we'll do. I think me, you, and Robbie will get in some sort of communication, some kind of chat together. We'll all throw out some names, and then next weekend on my stream or one of our streams or something, I'll do a little poll in the chat. Or maybe we can do a Twitter poll where we put some options and we can let the fucking chat choose the name.
Okay. I mean, my choice is the Crowder Boys, but I'm not married to anything. So, whatever the collective decides.
We could be the Autistic Alphas. I think C-Dumps. I have a song called Autistic Alpha, so that might fit. But I guess that doesn't I guess it should kind of be something a little with the Loud Boys, right? Because it's two members of the Loud Boys.
Mm-hmm.
So Crowder Boys.
The Crowder Boys. The Crowder Boys got me because like the Loud Boys was already Proud Boys adjacent in the name, and so the Crowder Boys is even more leaning into that.
I like that it doesn't even work.
It doesn't make any just as a name linguistically it doesn't even make any sense. But It makes me laugh.
Crowder Boys will be the working title.
Yeah, Crowder Boys.
What did you type in for the AI prompt for the thumbnail?
I typed in 2 Steven Crowders wearing flat brim hats, puffer jackets, baggy jeans, and stylish sneakers, and gold chains.
Nice.
I was trying to get it to make like Steven Crowder wiggers.
Yeah, maybe we should become the Crowder Boys and kind of find some way to fuck with Steven Crowder. Maybe there's a good lane there.
That would be. I mean, that's the goal, is to like draw the ire of somebody through the name of like whatever the show is, and then be like, "Well, you can't come at us for the name of the like." You don't own your name. Like you know, it is your name, but you're not the only Crowder out there. This could mean anything.
Yeah. Has nothing to do with us, but
yeah,
it's just a word.
The name the Crowder Boys has nothing to do with you, Steven Crowder.
We also got to make sure that there's not already a Crowder Boys like the Billionaire Podcast Network.
Yeah, that there's not already a black group of black people calling themselves the Billionaire Podcast Network.
Yeah, if there's a black Crowder Boys, it's probably with a Z at the end, so we'll probably be okay.
I googled it. There's no Crowder Boys. Oh, but okay, I like this. There's a character, the Walton Goggins character in Justified is named Boyd Crowder.
Cool.
That's what came up when I googled the Crowder Boys.
Walton Goggins does rule.
Walton Goggins is amazing. So we could just tell people that we're fans of his character in Justified.
We need to find like 20 reasons. Yeah. Well, shit, man. Probably gonna wrap.
It's been like 3.5 hours, dude. Great live stream. Thank you for the super chats, everybody. Squatopotamus, Sea Dumps, John Castle, Lee Rector, Northwest Ken, Berserk for Souls, Squat again, Sea Dumps again. Yeah, some repeats in there. Hey, great job, everybody. Thank you for support. Honestly, like it's doing the Findom thing is fun. It's funny to be like, you fucking dumb cocks, give me money. Honestly though, it is like, I'm very grateful that it sucks my life was destroyed due to my own what I did to myself and my own mental problems. But I am like grateful for the people that were always in my corner, stayed in the corner with me, and were there for when I have made my return. And each day it just gets better and better. Things keep growing and evolving, and we form new alliances. Crack and I have formed the Crowder Boys.
Yep.
And bigger and better things are on the horizon. So I do. Thank you. I'm gonna cry now.
Yeah, and I truly think that it's gonna be out with the old, in with the new. As much as I love the Skanks, I mean, they can't do it forever. They're getting older, they have families, and I just feel like me, you, and RG, Robbie Goodwin are just the young guys that are gonna come in with their fucking Tesla trucks and really just get shit fucking wildin'. I feel like we're the next breed. So you guys should get on the train now.
We are the next breed. Yeah, Skanks. Dave is going to run for president at some point, and that'll be the end of that show. And maybe, I mean, like, I don't want to speculate too much on all this. I don't want to rock the boat, but the consensus seems to be to just bring Zach into the fold on that show.
Yeah,
and
we got to steal him,
which would be tight. Like, that would breathe new life into the show.
That'd probably automatically make it the best show out.
Yeah, it just, somebody would have to breathe life into Zach. Dude, never mind. I don't want to. I love Zach. I just, as someone who's also, my health is dwindling these days, I look at Zach and I'm like, buddy, you and I both got to get it to fucking together. Like, we got to get this shit together, dude.
Yeah, him a lot more so than you. I think he's a little older and a little wider. Maybe,
he's a little older, a little wider, and he definitely, like, I think he goes more buck wild with the indulgences, which I went too buck wild, so I can't do anything these days. But yeah, he definitely. It seems like his real kryptonite is candy.
Yeah, he seems very conscious of it though. So maybe he'll turn it around. I just don't want to have another Patrice situation where we have this beacon of funny just taken from us too early. You know?
Yeah, I love Zach. I would hate to see something. Never mind. I don't want to tug on this thread too much. Like,
I don't want to be the only Amico.
Yeah. It doesn't work if he's not around.
Yeah. Then every time someone says my name, everybody will just get really sad. So we don't want that to happen.
Yeah, but Zach is a sweetie, and he's like genuinely one of the funniest people I've ever met.
He's like a funny robot. Like, it's just whatever the funniest thing just calculates in his fucking mind.
Mm-hmm.
He's the best.
Yeah, he's like Terminator Vision, but it just says like the N word. It's like red and things are dialing in, and it's just like N word, fag. Anyway, we're wrapping this up, folks. Patreon, subscribe to the Patreons. Subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to Crack's YouTube.com/@cornfed with Dalton Pruitt. YouTube.com/@Crack Amico. Patreon.com/cornfed with Dalton Pruitt. Patreon.com/Crack Amico. This has been tentatively the Crowder Boys.
Yeah, maybe we'll have Robbie with us next time.
Yes, thank you everyone for tuning. We got good numbers on this one. We were over 30 most of the show. You know, that's a new record for this channel. So we're growing every day. Big things are happening.
Oh yeah, it only goes up from here, brother.
It only goes up from here, brother. Anyway, thank you everyone. I love you, and I'm gonna click end now. End stream. End.